With the first pick in the 2020 NBA Draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Anthony Edwards from the University of Georgia.
And so it was on the NBA Draft, an odd draft like everything else is in the year 2020, virtual in November. It may have snuck up on you. You may not have even known it was coming. I'm not sure I did until a couple of days ago. 4 players out of the Mountain West Conference in the first round. San Diego State's Malachi Flynn goes 29th. JJ, here's the stat for you to take into the day and to be proud of if you are a Mountain West honk or an Aztec. San Diego State had more players drafted in the first round than Duke in the 2020 NBA Draft. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal. Happy Thursday to you, Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck, Micah. Looks like is that J-Pole over there on the side behind the mask, and Josh on the ProView Network side, producing the video side. There's a big screen on the right side. That's where I see all of us. So I didn't. You were hiding behind it over there. Now you're in front of the Chargers cape. JJ, nothing really surprising at the top. It kind of went exactly the way everybody thought. Anthony Edwards, James Wiseman, and then LaMelo Ball to Charlotte. I don't know that there were a ton of surprises. As always, trades. This piece, they're drafting for them, and this piece moved, and Del Curry ends up working for his father, or Del Curry's kid, Seth. Steph's brother, Seth, ends up working for his father-in-law now. But I don't think there were a ton of surprises. 4 Mountain West players go in the draft, 3 of them in the second round.
It was a great night for the Mountain West, having 4 players drafted, and it was also a night that is just fun, and that's what I love about draft day, draft night, is you can convince yourself that all these situations, all these scenarios are going to work out. We know that's not the case. Some of these guys are not even going to play a minute in the NBA, but it's a rare time where it is absolutely glass half full. You run down 1, 2, 3, 4, 29, 37. You're like, oh, I see this guy. This works. Oh, I love this guy. And there's also still a bunch of ballers that didn't get drafted. There's guys that did not hear their name called that are going to come in and make a huge impact, and be guys that we're looking back on and wondering how they didn't hear their name called on draft night. But it's just a fun, enjoyable event because there's hope and there's excitement for the future. There's only 2 picks that I was really not having all that hope about. One is really Anthony Edwards. I don't buy him as this guy. Now he's going to come in, and I think that it works because you have D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns. But for a number 1 pick who can't shoot, who questions how much he loves the game, I'm thinking that's Andrew Wiggins 2.0 in Minnesota. And then number 10, Jalen Smith to the Phoenix Suns. He's a good basketball player, but I just thought that was really high for the forward out of Maryland. He's a true center. Thought that was an opportunity for them to add some wing depth. But other than that, it was a fun night.
All right, the other Mountain West players who went, 51st overall pick, Justinian Jessup from the shooter from Boise State went to Golden State. So the Warriors get another shooter. We got to get into them later because a big injury potentially yesterday for them with Klay Thompson working out. And then 58th, a 29th pick in each first and second round. Really bizarre. Toronto went for Mountain West guard, and they went and took the scorer Jalen Harris from Nevada. Then in the last pick of the draft, Sam Merrill went to New Orleans, the stud player. I really like Sam from Utah State. So that's where that went. All right, we're going to get into the draft, and we'll do more conversation on it and take your calls. The number to get in is 505-246-0610. Yesterday, we spent a lot of time talking about New Mexico State moving their basketball operations. They're in Phoenix, where I think the court finally got them last night. And if that's their biggest hiccup, I think they're winning. That their court was not assembled in time for them to have their regularly scheduled practice yesterday. And as Chris Jans said on his Zoom call yesterday, man, come on, man. I mean, a lot of people got it worse than us. If that's their biggest issue, I think they're doing okay. Lobos, we said either yesterday or today you would hear where they're going in West Texas, and the women are going to Amarillo and West Texas A&M. The men are going to Lubbock, and they'll announce exactly. Does it matter exactly? I mean, whether it's Lubbock Christian or whatever it is that wherever they're going to play. necessitated and going on. Eddie Nunes is going to join us at 8 o'clock. JJ, I think no surprise. This is a week-by-week thing, so if things change, if there's a COVID outbreak, if they're able to come back, whatever it is, they're able to get out of it. I think, to me, the biggest thing out of it, there was no surprise that they're moving. And it could have been Colorado, California, West Tech, wherever. It doesn't matter. The biggest thing to me was they may not play any non-conference games. And I realized after talking to Eddie and Mario and to Chris Jones yesterday how hard it is to schedule. But it feels like there's so many people that are in the same boat looking for games that you should probably, you can find games. I'm just not sure if they want to at this point at the coach level. They maybe don't feel that they're ready to go because they haven't been able to practice. But that was, to me, the biggest thing that came out of it. They're going to play conference games, assuming conference games happen. But there's a chance that there is no non-conference slate. That means no New Mexico, New Mexico State, and none of that, potentially.
Yeah, hearing none was a bit shocking, but it is understandable when you look at the opportunities, because are you going to be able to travel somewhere? It doesn't look like the destinations are going to be that for teams coming in, at least high profile games. Like, not even, I'm not talking, like huge power games, and even just a known college. You look at New Mexico State, their first game is against Arizona Christian, so it's a NAIA school. And I think that's probably what you're looking at, even if you're New Mexico. I don't think we'll see the women play non-conference game, maybe one or two, a warm-up game, against a lower division school. I think the men are going to have that same type of scheduling issue where, all right, can we host a game or are we just going to travel? But at this point in time, it's just about getting both those basketball teams in a place where they can begin to prepare to play basketball.
I wonder if we come March, we're having a conversation, and look, this could be completely moot if they're a seventh place team in the Mountain West, as they're projected. If they're a second or a third place team in the Mountain West, and they're sitting there at 16-4, 15-5, do we have a conversation of, man, did not having a non-conference hammer this team when we're looking at potential bubble situations? Now, I know you don't believe they're going to be a bubble team, and I agree with you, but yeah, if we get there. Paul Ware, I put in a request for Paul Ware. He's very, very busy, I was told. It's a very crazy week, JJ, very hectic. I really appreciated the coach's perspective from Chris Jans yesterday, but we'll talk to Eddie at 8 o'clock, and I always appreciate his time and how willing he is. JJ, from Eddie's perspective, just getting this done for his men's and women's team. Look, these two athletic directors just having to figure this out, and Eddie having to do it with football and now with basketball. There's no blueprint for this, and what everybody's job is harder now. Everybody's job is harder, but everybody involved in college athletics in New Mexico is exponentially more difficult.
No question. For football, it was an amazing situation. The fact that there was a vacant college football stadium.
Yeah.
That they could go use. Don't have to worry about any crossover. And then when Eddie was talking about it yesterday, the announcement, the fact that they were looking at places too that they didn't have to share. And that's key in this situation, is you're not running into a scenario where you're worried about the other tenants. And getting a gym that you can use that's not going to be full, it's got to definitely be a challenge, even when there's teams across the country not playing at various levels. Still hard to find some place like, hey, can you come crash here for a couple weeks and see how it goes?
Well, I mean, not only do you have to find a place you don't have to share, and the reason you don't have to share it's less opportunity for spread, right? That's what they can control their environment, but you can't control another team with whom you might be sharing a facility. And what are they doing for testing? If they have an outbreak now, you're susceptible to that. And then you have to find somewhere that you've got lodging that is acceptable, affordable, and accessible. Like they're a 4-hour drive away. Where, I mean, you're not going to Georgia. I'm just throwing something out there, right? I mean, football is 8-hour drive away if they need to get there, and they've got an administrator with them. David Williams is with them. For basketball, Phoenix is a close-up drive to Las Cruces, and Tucson for the Aggie women, that if something happens, you can get there. It's accessible. You can get back if there's an emergency. That's another piece of it. So where could they go where they could play within state and local guidelines, where they could find a facility, to your point, that they don't have to share, where they can have housing, where there's enough, internet bandwidth and everything for everybody to still go to school, where they can afford to put them up to eat. I mean, there's a ton that goes in with this, and that's what they figured out. We'll get into it more. I want your thoughts on Lobel basketball, now based in Lubbock, Lobel women based in Amarillo, Aggie men based in Phoenix, Aggie women based in Tucson. And the college basketball season starts next week. ESPN announced that Jimmy V is going to happen. The Champions Classic is going to happen. You might have seen that yesterday. They're doing something different with those high-profile events. What do you expect? Because basketball's here now, boys and girls. I mean, your college basketball season, maybe not yours. College basketball season's open up next week. And your thoughts on that. Eddie Nunez at 8 o'clock this morning. Jerry Palm from CBS Sports this morning at 8:30. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, and Micah, and Josh, and Jay Paul on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Channel.
Greatest tape breakdown.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
That ball stolen. Jeremy Segura.
Forward dribble, spin cycle, up and under move. What a pass, wrap around pass.
Harris, the gate, the long bomb, 3 ball.
Oh, great steal by Quinteros, lays it up and scores.
A whole little jump step in the... And look out, here comes Agbayosi. Crawford set. That's blocked. Lansing says, get that out of here. Sister to sister, Marianne Lansing's going to go all the way. Turnaround.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
All right, so you got the Texas Lobos, the Arizona Aggies, whatever it is, but it looks like New Mexico State's going to try to play basketball next week. JJ, I didn't see the Arizona Christian game. When is that scheduled for? The New Mexico State Arizona Christian. Is it sometime early next week or mid next week?
Let me get the exact date for you on that.
All right. Yeah, I didn't see. Actually, I didn't even see that they had announced that game. All right. So, what are your thoughts? 505-246-0610 on them going. Eddie was asked if he thought about not playing, because the governor and her staff has made it very clear that they don't want. Not only should these teams not be locating, but teams should be thinking about their country instead of playing these little silly sports games. I probably added that. That's not fair. Playing games. They should be thinking about their country. I was thinking so much about that yesterday, because we got emails yesterday, and I think I misunderstood the tone of Grady's email at the end of the show yesterday. He thinks they should be playing too, and he made that clear to me. But I was thinking a lot about it. Is it un-American? Should they be thinking about their country? And I'm gonna double down on where I am on my thought. I firmly believe that they should be. I firmly believe that these student athletes who are being tested 3 times a week, who are in a controlled environment, who are under discipline, who are continuing to play, are they themselves are safer than the student out there, the common person, than you and me. I firmly believe that because they're under such close scrutiny and they're getting tested and everything else. I also believe that they're adding no threat to the community, and I've tried to look at this from every angle. I just don't see how they're adding threat to the community. Well, Jeff, they're traveling. Okay, but again, they're tested. Is it a threat to them to go through airports? Okay, I'm listening to that. I'm listening to that part of it. And then the other part is this mental health thing that everybody tells me about. And, you watch games every night. I do. There's something soothing about a touch of normalcy. And this isn't, you're putting these kids at risk for your entertainment. That's not what this is. At least to me, it's not. They want to play. Their mental health. Have you heard one player, JJ, and maybe we will after the seasons, who said, I didn't want to play, but I felt I had to?
No, I haven't heard that story. Is it something that could happen? Yes. But it goes all back to controlled environments, trying to do it as safe as possible. Yeah. Nothing is 100% certain. Because we're seeing, yes, positive tests in the sport, but it's also tests that haven't come from game transmission. We don't have that yet. You played Wisconsin and now your entire team tested positive after their outbreak. So we're not seeing that. We're seeing the situation managed. And that's the whole point of testing multiple times per week, playing conference games only, trying to control the scenario as much as possible.
Which goes into my whole premise of I firmly believe that the student athletes who are in these controlled environments are in a safer place and at less risk, and I'm not telling you none, but in a safer place than the average person, you and me, walking around. What would they be doing if they weren't? I could argue that playing these games is lessening this spread. Now, you would tell me that's a stretch, and you might be right. But do you see where that is? And so I've given it a lot of thought. I'll entertain your conversation. I'm here for you. And JJ's here for you at 505-246-0610. But I guess that's not where I am. Now, Garcia says he disagrees with Rudy yesterday. Rudy said the governor, was it yesterday where he said the governor's like a coach where he believes coach loses his team, that she's lost the state. Garcia says, I disagree with Rudy, Jeff. Yesterday, he said the governor's lost the state. Has she? Unfortunately, most New Mexicans are on some kind of government check, which have continued to flow in. COVID has been nothing but a minor inconvenience for them. I was speaking with someone yesterday who's a referee, gets the same income every month regardless of the situation. They have no problem with the state being shut down for another year because other people losing their job doesn't impact their bottom line. It's Garcia. Here's another thing I was thinking, and tell me if I'm taking this too far, and I might be. The people who are telling me that I hear for the most part should shut down, we should shut down, that there shouldn't be this, there should be. Most of those people are getting a paycheck, right?
I would assume so.
I mean, I haven't heard a lot of people who have been laid off saying, oh, yeah, this is good. That this is the best way to do this. Perspective is everything, obviously. How does it affect me, obviously, is perspective. But I don't hear a lot of that. And I just wondering if that's where it comes from. All right. What does it mean, JJ, basketball-wise, to not play conference games? Does it long-term have any effect? Probably not, because you think this is a 3-day in Vegas team, right? But what does it mean? Because I think there's an effect. And look, with those conference games on December 3rd, Eddie was asked about that. They're trying to move those dates. The early conference games against Boise State, they're trying to move those. But as far as basketball, what does it mean to not play those non-conference games?
Well, I think it's incredibly unfortunate, especially when it comes to New Mexico State and potentially not playing those games. Even in an empty arena, those matter. Those are the games you look forward to on a yearly basis. I think overall, could it be a situation where it hurts you? Possibly, but still, we're talking 5 to 7 games in a non-conference. Outside of New Mexico State, they weren't playing anyone that is going to be a resume team. Like, wow, you won that game. That wasn't on their non-conference schedule. It's unfortunate. I don't think it's anything other than just a this year issue for them. And 20-game conference season helps a little bit, even adding 2 more, because Mountain West was originally an 18-game schedule. They went to 20, so you could have it 5 and 5, the 5 home series, 5 away series for everyone. I think it's unfortunate, and New Mexico State's really the biggest hit, man. You love seeing those games.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we never really saw a schedule, but we knew what was coming. Was there anything on there that you really? Who are they playing in the challenge with the A10? Was it a game? Was it St. Bonaventure?
Yeah, I think it was St. Bonaventure.
Okay, I mean that would have been nice. That would have been a nice game. I'd have liked that. There was a UTEP game on there, right? That I think you would have enjoyed. I think they're at a disadvantage when they jump into league play. I think that with everybody else having played, I mean, you watch teams get better and get better and get better. We have this conversation almost every year except for last year. How much better is that team in February than they were in December, right? I mean, I wish they could play them again now. Like, how often do we say, more so about New Mexico State, right? Wouldn't you like to see New Mexico State play New Mexico in February instead of November, December, because they're so totally different teams? Well, that's because they're out there and they're playing. So I think the stunted growth is certainly there. We'll see. It's going to really be interesting to see how these coaches manage. And JJ, this is going to be a good test of both of these coaches, or all 4 of these coaches for the Aggies and the Lobos. How do they manage this? Their personalities, how do they manage their student athletes in an adverse time? Because the uncertainty. Look, Jans was on yesterday, and I thought he was terrific. I thought his attitude about this, his approach to it was terrific. We haven't heard from Paul. Bradbury was in the paper the other day saying, you can't do this. You can't keep him on the road. But the you can't attitude isn't going to work because you might have to do it that way.
Yeah, because you're not doing it at home right now, so you got to try to give them an opportunity somewhere.
Yeah, no, you can't lock the doors in practice here. Like, you work for a state institution, whether you want to or not, whether you believe in this or not, whatever. That's how it is in this state. You're a state employee. You're going to work under those state guidelines. And I think I really do believe the attitude, the scope of the coach. How does the coach handle it? Is going to be like I always tell you, players make plays. For these four teams, for New Mexico and New Mexico State's men and women, I really believe this is a big year on leadership. How do coaches handle this? You think I'm overblowing that? Because I think New Mexico, Danny's handling it. They're playing better. They're not winning. I get it, football. But I think, do you think that's I'm saying too much with her?
I don't think you're saying too much at all. It's an incredible challenge. Keeping players motivated, keeping them on the right path. You know, it's something that I asked Chris yesterday. I'm like, when your answer to everything was, I don't know, how do you keep them focused on being prepared for something, for not letting their guard down, for, trying to keep their grades up and trying to mitigate what they're doing? And that's got to be incredibly difficult, because that's still the answer to a lot of these questions. Oh, what do you think about this? Are we going to see this? When's this coming back? You're like, I just don't know. I don't have the answer for it. So you just got to keep grinding. You got to keep going. And yes, the leadership is absolutely key at this point in time, and especially the coaches, to keep these guys connected, keep the spirit up. And when it's a season that you lose some opportunities, but hopefully with conference play, you're able to feel like you got most of your year in.
Yeah. All right. We got NFL tonight. We're going to get into the National Football. You got a good one tonight. It's the Cardinals and the Seahawks tonight. Lobos play Friday night. They are going to be up in Colorado Springs to play Air Force. So we'll talk about that. And coming up next, a New Mexico former Gatorade Football Player of the Year is now eligible to play immediately for the Lobos. I'll tell you about that next. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal.
Right now we have an accident with injuries in Santa Fe at Zia Road and St. Francis.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle's got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown. Portell.
The outside of running an out route. Davis sending the play to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown.
So Davison back to toss, and he's got all day. Next one, this, and he's rolling. He's got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
We told you he
touchdown.
could spin that football, and that was a throw right there. I know he's got the win at his back, but
The Toronto Raptors select Malachi Flynn from San Diego State University.
Third Aztec in the history of that program to be selected in the first round. Can you name the other two?
Kawhi, so serious.
Why not? And 1984.
84.
Big power forward, went to the Clippers. Built like a thoroughbred. Michael Cage. Michael Cage, great player. I don't know if he's still. Did you know Tony Gwynn for a long time, and he may still be, and I don't know if he is, was the all-time assist leader for San Diego State basketball?
Yeah.
Tony Gwynn, who's as good of a hitter as I've ever watched in baseball, the late, great Tony Gwynn, was that. I think, JJ, and we'll hit on this. I know we teach some football, and we'll get there. But to me, the biggest story in basketball, with everything that happened yesterday, is not anything that happened in the draft, but more so that the report that came out that Klay Thompson, who missed all of last season with an ACL, and remember he hurt it in the finals the year prior, hurt himself, and it came out yesterday that there was a leg injury at first, that he was in workouts and he hurt his leg, and they're gonna do tests, and now you're seeing really reputable people who are saying that this could be an Achilles injury, which to me is more significant than anything that happened in the draft yesterday, that Klay Thompson could coming back from an ACL have an Achilles injury.
No question, it changes the balance of power in the Western Conference.
No doubt.
Warriors were slated to be right back up there in a race, top 3 in the Western Conference, with a healthy Steph Curry, Klay Thompson coming back. You have Draymond Green able to step back, play his role. You add James Wiseman. An absolutely devastating injury for Klay Thompson, because then you start wondering, is he ever going to be the same player again, coming off a knee injury, if it is a ruptured Achilles? And that's 2 years plus that you're losing in your career on the back end. Now, I did start thinking, would that have changed their approach? And they're still saying that Wiseman, in their mind, was the best player available. So that's who they were going to go with regardless. But you wonder, knowing Klay Thompson is out, do you even think about a LaMelo Ball or just something on the perimeter where you don't know what the future holds for Klay Thompson now?
You think that pushed him towards Jessup in the second round with the 51st pick? They took the shooter out of Boise State?
No, because they said that he's staying in Australia. Jessup is playing pro basketball over there, so he is going to stay over there and play for a little bit. So I think that the guy that was on their radar that they really liked, but as of at least last night, and obviously things could change now with the Klay Thompson news, they were going to just kind of let him continue playing over there and see how it goes.
All right, so that's something that we're going to have to watch, because to me, as big as everything that happened yesterday in the draft, the biggest thing that happened in the NBA was Klay Thompson's injury. So we'll watch that as we go. All right, you got football tonight. We'll get you the NFL game on Thursday night. You had Lobo Talk yesterday because the Lobos play on Friday. So hope you got Lobo Talk yesterday with Robert Portnoy and Danny Gonzalez. Tonight, Michael, what time does our coverage start? 6 o'clock, the NFL. Thursday night, Seattle and the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson. Just a terrific marquee matchup. No word on Chris Carson yet. I think that's going to be a game-time decision. Lobos go back at it. You can listen to that tomorrow evening over on News Radio KKOB. Go ahead, Micah. What were you going to say?
I was going to say Lobo Talk's still tonight.
I'm pretty sure I heard it last night. Just say it. Pretty sure I heard it on our radio station last night about 6 o'clock, somewhere in there.
Oh, okay. I just saw it on my schedule here at 5.
All right. Well, maybe we will run it again tonight. All right. because they're traveling today, and so they're going up to Colorado Springs for a game tomorrow. So, but okay, you might get Lobo Talk tonight. Keep it here on your radio station. JJ, I've got pretty good news. I don't know how much this will affect the running back rotation. But I think this is pretty good news for people locally, and certainly for the young man. But Josh Foley, the former Gatorade Player of the Year, Rio Rancho High School here in New Mexico, who went down to New Mexico State and did a gray shirt and got on the field in one game, was the leading rusher for the Aggies in Tuscaloosa against Alabama. And then, JJ, you and I scratched our head every week. Never got himself back on the field. He transferred to New Mexico. Yesterday, this is the NCAA, man. How they make rulings. They applied for a hardship, did the family. They've got some stuff going on. And so Josh was declared immediately eligible yesterday by the NCAA. He can play immediately for UNM. Now he's got to earn his way back on, onto the field and into the rotation. But good for that young man, and now he can be a Lobo and has an opportunity to perform. And you've watched Bobby Cole, you've watched Nate Jones, you've watched Bryson Carroll. They're pretty thick at that position. I think we've watched around here over the years. You can never be too deep at running back, but I thought that was good news yesterday, and I'm looking forward to getting a chance to see Josh Foley play. I really want to see what he can do at the college level, because I think he can legitimately play.
Special teams.
Okay, for now, or you think his whole career, or just now?
Just right now. Bobby Cole and Nate Jones are good. I'm not saying Josh Foley's not good, but it's not a situation you can come in and just, all right, you're eligible, you're going to get a bunch of carries in this game. I think special teams, they have an issue with kickoff returns. Nate Jones was a spark when they put him back there, but still, you had a moment where he didn't field a kickoff and you just let it bounce and it didn't go out of bounds and you picked it up. They started to drive at the 5-yard line. They've had some mistakes in that area, starting drives and positions that they don't want to be in. So that's a place where I could think a player like Foley could make an immediate impact, and with his athleticism is in the kick return game.
I think that's fair. I want to see it. I watched that young man. Total disclosure, I mean, I know the family well, and I know how hard that young man works. But we watched him in high school, and he was legit. He went to Phoenix and was legitimate fast at the combines. Like this isn't just local guys as good as we had. No, he was legitimate and fast. And the one shot we saw at Alabama, and JJ, I heard, well, Alabama had their backups in. Alabama's backups are better than anything you're going to see in the Mountain West. I don't think that's an exaggeration, do you?
No, it's fair.
And that young man ran for 50-something yards, ran hard, found holes, and I mean, you and I looked at each other that next Monday, and we said, man, now we're going to get to see him. He never got back on the field. Never got to see him play. And whatever Doug's issue was with him down there, he never got on the field. So we found another spot. So I'm looking forward to it. Have you heard anything? Because I've not. Tavaka? Is he ready to go tomorrow? Are we looking Trey Hall and maybe Tavaka? Are we looking mostly Trey Hall? Because I've heard nothing on the quarterback health. Have you?
Not yet. And if it's Trey Hall, he's going to get the majority of the reps. This is not a situation where I see Danny or Derek wanting to play quarterback roulette. It's if Tavaka is healthy and they were comfortable enough with the reps that he gets in, he's their starting quarterback. If not, Trey Hall gets the game.
I've got a clip on that.
All right. Micah, you've got something on the quarterbacks. Is this from Danny? Is this from last night?
Yes, this is from Lobo Talk last night.
How about that? You mean Lobo Talk was last night?
Dare you question Mr. Siembieda?
What the hell? All right, so this was Danny Gonzalez last night here on the Sports Animal and Lobo Talk in regards to the quarterback situation.
We're going to keep going forward with both of them. Tavaka has not been cleared yet to play, but he will continue through the protocol, and if he's ready to go, Tavaka's our starting quarterback, but there's not a huge separation between the two.
All right, so that's pretty much what he told us. Now, I did hear Lobo talk. I didn't hear the whole thing. How about that? So I didn't hear that part of it. That's exactly what he told us on Monday, right? If he's ready to go, he's our quarterback. You just had 2 days since, and so there was no clearance. Tavaka Toyota, your starting quarterback, coming off the concussion, which he suffered in the second game of the season, which was against Hawaii, and did not play last week. In the Nevada game, Trey Hall played admirably, and so that may be your deal. I went in last week, JJ, and I said to Addy, I don't think they can win with that quarterback. Like, just watching the first couple of series, I didn't think they could win with Trey Hall. And now I feel differently. After watching Trey Hall for that game, I think they can beat Air Force with Trey Hall.
Yeah, I've someone that was on the Trey Hall train heading into the season. You look at it's such a small moment, his opportunity last year against Utah State. We were 4 total touchdowns. He rushed for 122 yards. So he has the athleticism. He's the type of player that works exactly in this offense. You know, he's so similar to Tavaka Toyota. I think that's what really helps them at this moment in time is they didn't have to change what they're doing. They didn't have to start running, triple option from under center to be successful. Derek Wareham was still able to call his same game plan. And I think Hall has skills to be successful. I've been pleasantly surprised with the offense, how effective it's been, even seeing 2 different quarterbacks in it. And I agree with you. I think whether it's Tavaka or Trey Hall, this is the first time in the last 3 years when it hasn't been a New Mexico State game where I'm thinking the Lobos can win this game. Is that just too shocking?
You on mute? You're on mute, Jeff.
Yeah, you didn't think they could beat New Mexico State? You didn't think they could beat Sam Houston State, Liberty?
Well, outside of FCS opponents.
Okay. Yeah, I think we all gave them a chance against Liberty, even though Liberty beat them both times. And now, by the way, Liberty's ranked and 7-0 and really, really good. All right, top of the hour, Eddie Nunez is going to be with us, the athletic director at the University of New Mexico. We're going to talk about the decisions and how it came through to move his basketball. He's not done, by the way. They still got to find a place to play games if, in fact, they're going to play games. Now, they're going to play conference games, so that's got to be on the schedule. Are they going to stay in Lubbock, or are you going to have teams go to Lubbock? Like that's a whole nother. Are they going to relocate again, potentially? So we'll talk to them about that and about the process. Gentlemen, here come the holidays. I know you're thinking about how you're going to take care of every single person on your list. Don't forget to take care of you. Put yourself on that list because you can't take care of anyone else. Let's take care of yourself first. And if you're not feeling right, if you're dealing with fatigue, low T, erectile dysfunction, call Numel. Take care of it. In a year when everything is seemingly out of your control, this is something that you can absolutely control. Numel's right here in Albuquerque. They can help you deal with ED, depression, even hair loss. You just have to make the call. 505-652-1688. 505-652-1688, or visit them at newmail.com. You know it's not going to take care of itself. You know you can't ignore it away. And the truth is there's nothing to be ashamed of. You men hit a certain age, these things are normal. The beauty of Numail is you can battle normal. You can feel better. Numail's number is 505-652-1688. Enjoy the holiday season. Give yourself the gift of feeling great. Make that call. Numail, 505-652-1688, or visit newmail.com and feel better.
Find new special buys of the day every day on the Home Depot.
Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's going to walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly, Cardinals fly. To the other side, provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out. See you later. Good night. Touchdown, Webskowski. fire to the end zone. Open man, touchdown, wild catch. Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Kowski on the sideline. Hasta mañana. He's off to the races. Touchdown, Clovis.
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Rancho late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman. He's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards.
He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's grabs. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Hand off to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
Second field goal, he's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, playing it!
But he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, a little kick.
They leave it one more time to Hammer.
Look at this, and then we'll score again. Look at this.
Up top! Yes, and the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Really good NFC West tonight. You got 3 teams at the top. 2 of them are going to go at each other. The Seahawks and the Cardinals, the Rams being the other one. You'll have them on the Sports Animal on Monday against Tampa Bay. 6 o'clock, our coverage begins. Seattle's running back Chris Carson, game-time decision. Their coach Pete Carroll said yesterday that they're going to wait until game time to figure out what we're going to do with it. But he did practice and look good in all stuff that he did, so we're really close with Chris, end quote. If not, Carlos Hyde looks like he is back. You had... 41 came in. It wasn't Dallas, and it wasn't Homer.
It was Alex Collins.
Alex Collins, a big running back who played well last week. So, what do you, if Carson goes and you're a fantasy guy, do you play him?
Chris Carson's the only guy I'm playing in that backfield with certainty if he's cleared to go, because he's their bell cow running back. If not, then you probably go in Hyde or Carson and flex if you're not feeling great about it. But this is a game that's all about Russell Wilson and the pressure that he's been under. He hasn't played good the last couple weeks, And you know Arizona's going to move the football. Kyler Murray, the Cardinals offense, is going to score on that Seattle defense. So is Russell Wilson going to cook, and he's going to be in a position that he's not turning the football over, and he can get explosive plays out of Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Because the first time around, this was the 200-yard, 3-touchdown game for Tyler Lockett against his Cardinals defense.
Yeah, I wonder a little bit about Carson if you're playing him in fantasy, coming off the injury, and if he's a game-time decision, and Hyde is back, and Collins is there. And I can't even believe I'm saying this. I'm thinking of Kalen Ballage against the Jets instead of him.
100%.
You would go Ballage instead of Carson? Why?
Oh,
No, the Chargers are going to get beat by the Jets. The Jets are going to beat the Chargers this week, but that
means there's be a game in which you're chasing points. Thus, play your Chargers.
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. All right, but you get that tonight. All right, I got emails for you. They come in, jeff@610knml.com, jj@610knml.com. I strongly encourage you on the Twitter. Follow _JJ Buck. It's a terrific follow, and there's information that flows 24/7, and you can get it all there. All right, this is from Lobo Hobo. I'm dreading today, Jeffy. Last week, the governor grounded us and told us we have 2 weeks to get our F grades up to a C or no holidays for us. I have a feeling instead of improving our grades, they slipped to an F-, and she's going to go ballistic. What more can they do? I mean, can they shut down grocery stores? Can they shut down the freeways? I mean, I guess I don't really want to know the answer to that, but what more can they tell us you can't do? I guess we'll find out at 3 o'clock today. Great news, Jeff. My Christmas party was canceled yesterday, so I'll be able to go to your unpatriotic game this year. If it was replaced with a return to work party January 15th, but I'm not buying party supplies yet, as we were originally set to return April 6th of 2020. Yeah, I'm going to guess most holiday parties are canceled, right? I mean, there's no company having a holiday party, is there?
I don't think you have to worry about that this year.
Hell, isn't Christmas canceled? I think Thanksgiving's canceled, right? I saw that. This is horrible. I shouldn't even repeat it. The Grinchum that canceled Christmas. That's not very nice. But I saw it on the social media. You people are horrible out there. Carl said, it sounds like global basketball is just trying to find a way to breeze right now, Jeffy. And when you are in lonely West Texas, your options are fewer than in a major metro area. He's right? As far as Aggie's concerned, where they've got more options in a major metropolitan area with access to a lot of programs. Now, JJ, there's got to be programs in Texas because there's so many. And I don't care if it's Texas State or Houston Baptist or Lubbock Christian there's so many programs in Texas, not just Division I programs, that they should be able to. You would think everybody's in the same boat to be able to find games against, right? I mean, you want to talk about remote? New Mexico's remote.
2 minutes.
They should be able to find games out there, right?
What's everyone else looking like at this point in time?
Yeah, I think everybody
in a situation where they're comfortable with what they have moving forward. They're not scrambling for games like the state of New Mexico is right now. There's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah. James says, what about the women? Jeff, I don't think you need to be a soothsayer to see that Lady Lobos aren't playing at Wise Pies this season, so Bradbury is not willing to make an 11-week road trip when almost every team in the country is playing. You might as well drop the program now. Lobo fans are still complaining about the impact of no two-platoon football in the mid-'60s. That'll be insignificant compared to the damage the Lady Lobos stay in the barn the entire year. Whether he wants to or not, I mean, this is right. This is what he's got to do. I guess the option, JJ, and I don't know if this is Eddie's call or the coach's call. The option is don't play, right? The option is shut it down. But I think the coach or the AD is basically saying you're going to play conference games. There's, especially on the men's side, there's television money, there's a contract. You're going to play conference games, right?
Yes, and really, it's for the Lobos and Aggies at this point in time. It's going to be hard to get D1 basketball games unless you're able to put it together in a short amount of time due to cancellations. Because I pulled up Texas Tech. They have a 7-game non-conference schedule.
Yeah, Texas Tech did one of them.
Yeah,
but Eddie was asked about that.
thinking about, all right, teams in West Texas, who could you be playing?
Right. Right, and even West Texas is tough, right? Because West Texas A&M and Lubbock Christian and what's there. And so you're sitting here going, well, gosh, New Mexico State can't find any games, and New Mexico can't find any games, and yet you're telling me they may not play each other. We'll ask Eddie what we don't understand. Eddie Nunez is the athletic director at UNM. He's next in this crazy, crazy, crazy season, by the way, which starts next Wednesday. It's the opening drive. We're on ProView Networks with Jay Pole and Josh, and on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Natalia Chavez, good spin. Takes a.
Here's Ramos. Nice jump stop to the.
Maybe gambling a little bit. Oh, there's a. High window. Got the second.
To the middle. Here we go. 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry. Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo.
Reverse layup. Gallegos spins. Window. Finishes.
There's a run coming from.
Lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime. To shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Oh my gosh.
Here's the long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go. His
Fork driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good.
Nice pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalan's going to go and he puts it away. And Corbalan wants to put it down. Here comes Las Brown. You can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transition. 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes!
Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham and it.
Lubbock, that is where Lobo basketball is housed. The women are at Amarillo. The men are in Lubbock. We're going to head over there on Friday. House there, practice, get ready for a season. What will that season look like? I don't know. I don't think they know either. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal. Jeff Siembieda, JJ Buck. We'll get back to your phone calls. Coming up in a little bit, Jerry Palm at the bottom of the hour. We'll talk college football and college basketball. But the college basketball season around the country, JJ, is scheduled to start next Wednesday. Some schools will play then, some will not. Some schedules are out, some are not. But in the state of New Mexico, I think you know, during this crazy time, things are a lot more difficult here. You heard 2 days ago, New Mexico State relocated their men's team to Phoenix, their women's team to Tucson. Yesterday, UNM, women to Amarillo, men to Lubbock. This isn't easy, man. The head basketball coach of both teams are going to have to take control. The athletic director at the University of New Mexico has been busy. Eddie Nunez joins us this morning. This is all in the job description, right? Find accommodations in different states and cities and places to play. This is everything you expected when you took this job, isn't it? How you doing?
Oh, every day I look at and just enjoy the next curveball that's being thrown at us. But honestly, it goes back. I've got a wonderful staff, and they've really done a great job to work with each other and trying to figure out what way we can make this happen. But doing great. Thank you for having me today.
No, appreciate it. This is not just a place to play, or at least practice. It's accommodations where you don't have to share the facility, so you can limit the spread. It's got to be affordable. It's got to be accessible. There's a lot of things, and you're going week by week because you don't know, if you're going to have to pull out because potential spreads, or you can come home. So you have to be incredibly versatile on this too.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's a very cumbersome process, and to go through and just to say, okay, we're going to go to somewhere in Phoenix or Arizona or Colorado. Everything has, you got to make sure they have the ability to continue to do what they're doing here. That means being able to do all the COVID protocols that are in place, get the testing done. Make sure the hotels have the means that's not overbooked, that we have the ability to, again, do what has to be done without getting too many other individuals within that inner circle. The gymnasiums, who's going to be utilizing them? Are there other teams? So it's a lot of logistics, a lot of details, everything down to, okay, what are we doing for meals, or how are the meals going to be delivered? Everything is delivered to the hotel. They're not going to restaurants. So it's a restrictive process, honestly, and it is. It's a challenging one for our student athletes. It's not. Everybody keeps saying our kids are in Las Vegas. I mean, they're really in a hotel, and they from there. They're the only time they get to enjoy the ability to get out of that hotel is when they go to practice, and they're back in there for school, for tutoring, for. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, and they're a long way away from the Strip. I've stayed at that hotel. They're up in Henderson, Lake Las Vegas. They can see the Strip way out there in yonder, but they're not on it. You're not done because at some point your teams are going to play games, whether that's non-conference or only conference. And so now you got to figure out that piece. If you can't come home, and I don't know that there's any reason to believe that you can, you've got to figure out where you're going to play league games. Is Amarillo and Lubbock accessible for teams to get in and out with your league? I know you're working through that. Now, where does that stand?
Yeah, so we have had numerous conversations with the Mountain West. We're going to still have some more today, trying to finalize what ability there is for us to maybe to look at the schedule again and maybe adjust it a little bit. It's not adjusting the teams; it's maybe adjusting if we can play them first on the road, and hopefully on the back end of the schedule sometime. Again, in February or late January, the ability becomes available for us to maybe have some games here at home. So what we're trying to do is really adjust it and modify it as much as we can. But the other thing is we definitely don't want to stick our teams on the road for that many home games that many games period on the road. So hopefully we can find a neutral site, something that will give us the ability to do what we're doing in Vegas, that it can become our home away from home. Right now, there's not a great solution where the women are going. West Texas A&M has the ability to do that. So we're looking at what all the logistics, referees, getting officials there, everything else. So again, we're taking it step by step, day by day. When everyone keeps asking, is this a plan that we need that long term? No, it's truly week by week, and that's how we have to. That's how we have to be. We have to be agile and be able to adjust and pivot if we have to.
Eddie Nunez is the athletic director at the University of New Mexico.
Yeah, Eddie, that's another portion that I think gets lost when we talk about game staff, having a facility ready to play for a game, and then all those people around, a team that you're trying to, have in the most manageable and safe position. But with that said, have the coaches set an idea of what they would like to have in terms of at least being able to practice before potentially playing a game, like where they would want their team before an opportunity like that came about?
I mean, I think our coaches, of course, like everyone else, their first focus was what can we do to try to do to be here, and unfortunately, that's not an option. And it's a hard one for them, just like it is for our football program, to look and say, okay, we would like to stay here and do everything here, and yes, we're going to save a bunch of money if we do that, and that's wonderful. That's what we need to do, which we hope to do, but unfortunately, that's not available for us. So they've been understanding. It's going to take a lot more of their. They're really. It's an all-in affair right now. Everybody on this team is going to have to be understanding of what's expected of them, what it entails. So every place that we looked at, we did have a conversation with them, told them the good, the bad, and the ugly, and trying to say, first and foremost, was can we provide the safety and the health for our student athletes to continue to do what we're doing in a safe manner. Still test, and if that wasn't even, if we couldn't check that box, we didn't go to the next one. So they understand this is going to be a lot on them as a staff and coaches to make sure that everything's done. You got to remember, if they're there more than a week, you got laundry, you got everything else. Where are the laundry facilities? Are they within the hotel? Are they, fortunate these institutions or the schools that we're working with are going to provide laundry services for us that we can actually utilize their equipment, which is unbelievable. That helps us out tremendously. So a lot of logistics, a lot of things. Coaches have been involved through and through, but the operations from an event side, it becomes a little more problematic. If the schools can give us some assistance with operations and everything else, then it really helps offset some cost and gives us the ability to have a game. But then you got to figure out, can I host a game there and have TV come as well? Because that's another big piece of this equation, is can TV operate from that arena? Are the light candles of the television are the lights bright enough to be able to showcase the game? Or do they have the means? Do they have the wiring? Do they have to pre-wire
the angles?
So, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot right now, and that's what makes Las Vegas such a great location for football, because it's been done there. That's what we're looking for basketball. We're looking for something that gives us the ability to be a turnkey, but it's not as readily accessible as it's been.
All right, playing games, so there's the game staff, and then there's scheduling. And I guess it comes down to, Eddie, what do you want? Or is the decision your coaches, and what do they want to do? Because we've had conversation this morning. Well, New Mexico's looking for games. New Mexico State's looking for games, but yet they may not play each other. What are we missing here? Why wouldn't they play? What are the advantages? Because it seems there's obvious disadvantages of not playing non-conference games. What are the advantages of not playing conference games and non-conference games, and who makes that choice?
Well, I think it's a collaborative decision. It's not just the coaches. It's not just myself. It's something to see, okay, can we do this? Can it be done? Have our student athletes had enough time to practice? Again, I think people miss that point is they've truly had less than 3 practices. I mean, if you count the couple of Moriarty, the one that they had the one day. So, I mean, you're really very, this group's had a very limited access to seeing what, full game, atmosphere would look like for them. So that's going to be the first thing. Can they get themselves prepared, ready to go? We didn't want to schedule a bunch of games and say, okay, now our backs are against the wall because that's what we have to do to get ourselves prepared. the reality is I want them to focus on getting these young men and young women prepared to play, and as they get closer, we'll continue to evolve. I mean, everybody right now, there is some schools that have permanent opponents that they're going to be playing non-conference, but there's a lot of them that still have a lot of holes, and they're willing to adjust and move. So, as I said yesterday, I think the ability for us to have non-conference games is going to be very challenging, just because location, timing, giving our team ample enough time to practice and everything else. But then again, can we do it and do it well? We're not going to do something just to play games. I want to make sure it helps our student athletes get better. And can they, and whomever we're playing, are they going to be following the same guidelines, protocols that are necessary from a testing and everything else? We're not just going to play, school just because they're down the street. It has to be someone who actually is doing testing and doing everything that needs to be done. We don't want to put our student athletes or our coaches or our staff in a position where we don't know what's happening on the other side of the court.
Do you consider a competitive disadvantage come selection time if you're a bubble team, and I don't know, maybe you're not thinking that way, that there's no non-conference schedule to look at your resume?
I think this is, again, because of what we're all facing, I'm looking at right now, the reality is the traditional bubble team and how things were looked at really right now is not even a talking point, because it's not. We're all hoping that we have the ability to play 20 games in conference. We know that this virus is still around us. We know there's a chance that these teams, all our teams, will have outbreaks, maybe even ours. So what we've got to do is continue to do what we can, and if we get to the ability to have a chance to play in the tournament, again, I don't know what that's going to look like. It's like football right now. Everybody keeps asking, who's going to be a bowl game, a bowl team, this and that. Well, there's still, it all goes down at the end of the day to, are you able to get your games in? Your competitor is going to be important, but really, did you get enough games in to even give you a chance? So that's the first step. The second, I think, will be, did we have quality wins against, some of our conference opponents that are higher up? And then ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the selection group's decision, and if it doesn't happen, the positive for us is this is one of those years it's challenging for everybody, and if we can get our games and have a great outcome and be able to show significant progress for our program, then that might be one of the wins that we take this year, because it's not common.
Eddie Nunez is with us for a few more minutes, the athletic director at UNM.
Eddie, what has been the sense you're getting from the coaches, just how the student athletes are handling this? And then I know the recent round of testing, you guys, was it negative for all the teams that are being tested?
Yes, sir. We had all our teams tested Sunday and Monday. Sunday, Tuesday. And so all of them were all negative. They also tested yesterday again, both football and men's and women's basketball. So they were doing 3 tests actually earlier this week. They'll have another one on the back end of the week. So we're waiting on those results. Once those results are in for yesterday's test, then that will allow whomever is negative to be able to get on the bus and head to the destinations. And those that are not, if we do have anybody who's positive, or the individuals that are in isolation currently right now with men's basketball, as soon as they're able and capable of going, we will get them to their locations when the time's right. And you asked about, what our coaches doing, what our student athletes. I think, many of you saw what, Mario and how, emotional this has been on him, and I think it's been like that for many of us. Seeing our student athletes, hearing them firsthand, their interest to compete, to play, to represent our program. So it's hard. Our kids are doing as great a job as they can do. This has been very challenging, like it is for all of us dealing with COVID right now. Emotionally, it's a roller coaster. So I commend them, and as I always said, if I can give them an ability in a safe environment to be able to compete and live out their dream here and be able to represent the Lobos, we're going to do everything possible we can.
Leadership's going to be important in it. This is your head coaches are really having to take on a different role, and they've got to buy in and accept this and understand what it is, because they're going to be out there on an island a little bit. And I was talking to JJ. I think these head coaches are going to play as big a role as they ever have. Yeah,
this is, and I use football as an example because we're going through it. Danny's had to take, honestly, a larger role than ever. And again, for a first-year coach, still trying to understand his team, build a culture, everything else, that's been hard. But then, our basketball coaches are in the same position. They are going to be having to take a leadership role, which requires them even more to hold their young men and young women accountable. It's the practices, what we do in the off time. Everything is going to be really your leadership, their leadership. The student athletes' leadership has to be taken to a whole nother level, and we've seen it in football. We truly have, and now I don't have any doubt that we can see it in basketball. Is it going to take a lot of energy and a lot of time, and everybody really stepping up? Absolutely, because now more than ever, it is. We have to follow the rules. We have to do what we have to do. If we're going to be successful here, everything we do has to be exactly the way we've laid it out.
All right, this phase is done. On to the next one. I think the biggest thing for Lobo fan right now is, all right, when will I see my team play? And the answer is, I think the answer is, I don't know.
I hope there's an opportunity if all the stars line up perfectly, that we can actually have the ability to play a non-conference game on TV. If worse comes to worse and it's just not there, then the first conference game will be the first opportunity to do so. So, again, love to see everybody in the pit, love to see everybody out there supporting the Lobos, but if we can't make it happen in a safe manner, then we truly are going to continue to do what we have to do to just get some games in.
Appreciate the time. Always do. The accessibility and continued success. Be well, and on to the next task, I imagine. Take care.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me anytime. As we continue to change and do things, we'll definitely keep everybody up to date as much as we can.
Thank you, Eddie.
Appreciate it.
Eddie Nunez, the athletic director at UNM. JJ, I come out of that with so much uncertainty. At least they got a place to get started, get practicing.
Yeah, and it's the little things that don't even cross your mind. Is it bright enough? Are we going to be able to televise this game? Is it going to be a game that anyone gets to view, whether it's TV or streaming? The event staff, what are the safety precautions that you take along those lines? Yeah, there is a whole lot to deal with relocating your basketball teams.
All right, conversation, and you can respond to that. Jerry Palm at the bottom of the hour. It's the opening drive. But I want your thoughts. I've got a lot of thoughts on what just came out of that, and I'll give them to you when we come back on the opening drive on ProView Networks and 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Discover matches.
Moreno extra pass, and Watson. Out with it, Gallegos, and he's gonna run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
Ramos' hand.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Steal by Domino Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi, lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming. The lob to Agbaiosi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Parham.
opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores. Got into it and had some nice looks at the rim. Win inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo. Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on and goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's going to go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos, got it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Stripped. Daniel stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy. And it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
A whole lot in there, obviously, from Eddie Nunez. The bottom line is this phase is done, and it's on to the next one. How are you going to play? Where are you going to play? When are you going to play? Are you going to play? And I know you got a lot of questions. I think that JJ, what came out of that is to your point, the logistics of everything that goes into the safety, testing, food, accessibility, affordability, and then where do we play games? Lighting, accessibility. How do I get referees in there? Who are we going to play? Can I put television in there? I mean, stuff y'all don't think about.
Yeah, and that's the thing that it just worked out so well with football that there's a huge facility ready to go in use. You know that your opponent's conference play, you're all set, you're all on the same schedule, not dealing with non-conference. Let's go.
Let's go. Ray, let's go. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. The number is 505-246-0610. Good morning, Ray.
How you doing, guys?
Good. How you doing?
Well, okay. In listening to Eddie, and something I've been thinking about the last couple of weeks, ever since we knew that we weren't going to get hoops in New Mexico. And I'm sure they've been all over this, but, you know, Las Vegas has a lot of basketball courts amongst the hotels and everything. And do you think it's just that the cost of putting them up at the hotels is just prohibitive? Or?
Well, I think part of it is how do they get a place to themselves, right? You don't want to be interacting with other schools. I think, and it sounds like that's maybe where they end up. JJ, listening to him a little bit in regards to conference play, he's hoping that by late January, February, you're going to be able to play here. I'm not as hopeful as he is. And so it sounds like they may end up there. And again, that's a central place for the league. Teams can get there, bus in, television's there. It's more accessible. This is a place, I think, for now. But to your point, Vegas may be a place they end up.
Yeah, well, and in terms of where they are right now, the first place that came to my mind is South Plains College.
Okay.
They've got a facility in Lubbock, and they also have one Levelland, which is about 50 miles west of Lubbock. And I don't know, which of those places they might be at. You mentioned Lubbock Christian.
Yeah.
Do you have any hint on where they might be right now?
No, I don't. I know they're leaving on Friday, and I don't know which facility it's going to be. I don't.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right.
Well, thanks so much, guys. Enjoy the
Thanks,
show.
Ray.
Thanks.
JJ, I don't know why, and I appreciate Eddie keeping working. I know how much he's talking to the governor's office and trying to get this to go. I see nothing that tells me that I should think that they're playing in the pit in January.
Yeah, no indicators right now, and this is about just being able to get your basketball teams in a place to start preparing to play basketball. But still, even if they don't play a non-conference schedule, their conference games are scheduled in early December, which we know they're not going to hit those marks, but still only 4 weeks to get ready, for the end of December, early January, when the rest of the conference season is set to go.
Yeah, I wonder if part of it is if Governor Lujan Grisham takes the job that she's rumored to be auditioning for, or up for, whatever, with President-elect Biden's cabinet, assuming that's all validated, is some of this contingent on maybe Howie Morales coming in and having a different view? I have no idea. I'm just trying to think, what do you see that makes you think you're playing there in January? But I don't. All right, college football and basketball next. Jerry Palm from CBS Sports is going to be with us. We'll look at the weekend that's coming and have a conversation with him about some of the good stuff that actually is happening. I want you to think about calling International Protective Service and protecting what's important to you. IPS protects my home. They protect businesses and homes. Look, bottom line is, burglaries are on the increase since COVID began. You can't afford to be a victim. Don't. Call International Protective Service and let them watch what's important to you. If your alarm goes off, they respond within 5 to 7 minutes with a trained armed security guard. If you're leaving town, they'll watch your home, pick up the newspapers and the mail. Just give your home that lived-in look. Bad guys do not care. They just want to steal something. And now with the holidays, you're going to have stuff on your porch. Don't be a victim. Call IPS. 505-897-2420 is the number. 505-897-2420 or visit ipsglobal.com.
We can all agree that life has changed over the past few months, but chances are you're
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
Dorian over. Did he get
Yeah,
in?
they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle, got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portel.
The outside of running an out route. Davis sending a play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. So Davison back to toss it. He's got all day. It's one miss, and he's rolling. He's got a guy.
Ball Friday, that would be tomorrow up at Air Force. You can listen to it over on News Radio KKOB. JJ, what time's JJ got the pregame show, Micah? What time's that all start for? Do you know? He's not there.
Should be 6:30 because the game's at 7:30.
6:30, 7:30. Robert Portnoy will take the mic from Falcon Stadium. Opening drive, Jeff, JJ, and Micah, and Josh and JPO on the ProView side. You can watch the show on our Facebook page. Jerry Palm from CBSSports.com joins us on the opening drive. Love me some action, man. The last couple of weeks, I got a little action last night. I can't get enough Jim McElwain in Central Michigan anyway, but did you catch a little more action last night?
Yeah, a little bit. I had some stuff I had to run around and do, but yeah, I caught a little bit. I'm enjoying the Tuesday, Wednesday games. I kind of miss them when December rolls around, and actually it might even be the last week in November that they start playing on Saturday. But these Tuesday, Wednesday games have been fun.
Yeah, no, I enjoy it a lot. All right, I want to start with my favorite thing from last weekend, and it was Marshall and just the whole 50th anniversary. But I ask you this: we had Doc Holliday on with us on Monday. How good are they? Like, we're hearing about Cincinnati and BYU, and is Marshall even in that conversation for a New Year's Six bowl representing the Group of Five?
Probably not. I mean, certainly not as long as Cincinnati's around. I think if I had a vote, I'd put Marshall up there with BYU. I mean, they're not dominating. The thing about BYU is their schedule's bad, but they're completely dominating. They haven't been threatened by anybody.
UTSA threatened them. I think that was like an 8-point game. Didn't UTSA threaten them? Didn't they? It was like an 8-point game.
Oh, yeah, you're right. UTSA hung around with them for a while. Yeah, you're right. But Marshall, I mean, they beat App State. That's the best team either one of them has played.
Yeah.
And I say that because Boise had to play their third-string quarterback for most of the game. Otherwise, it would definitely be Boise. But otherwise, I mean, BYU's schedule, their next, I would say the best team they've played is Houston. And they're 3-3 in the American Conference. So it's going to hold them back, but I think that Marshall deserves at least as much consideration as BYU is getting, just based on their schedule. And I mean, BYU's played 3 or 4 of the Conference USA teams. I haven't compared how they've done head to head, but yeah, I mean Marshall. Yeah, I think Marshall's a pretty good team.
Yeah, and I love the story with the 50th anniversary. All right, COVID's ripping through it. Are we up to 15 games canceled this weekend, and significant games? A&M is off again this week. The Big Ten has just lost Michigan State and Maryland. The ACC's had I think a couple of games canceled this week. Yeah, it's everywhere. And one thing that I'm noticing, and I'm getting ready to try and quantify. So this is basically anecdotal, but it seems like lately, if you miss a game, you're missing 2. Miami's missing 2, Maryland missed 2, A&M is 2. If you have a problem on your team, you're not Wisconsin missed 2. You're not just missing 1 week. You're missing 2, and that's. I mean, that obviously doesn't just impact your team, but it impacts 2 of your opponents. So it's the trend is not good, but the trend is not good in the general public nationwide. So there's no reason to expect that college football and college basketball would be any different. Yeah, I think Air Force just missed 2. They're going to play tomorrow. It's Jerry Palm from CBSSports.com is with us on the opening drive.
Jerry, go to the Big Ten East, Ohio State, Indiana. Ohio State 20-point favorites. How can Indiana keep that a game, give themselves a chance in the second half?
Protect their quarterback and keep the ball. Try and to control the clock, control the ball, frustrate Ohio State's offense. But in order to do that, you have to protect the quarterback and you have to be able to block that really good defensive line. I think you can. I think you can take advantage of their secondary, but if you can't protect the quarterback, that's not going to happen. And Ohio State, of course, is going to try and contain Michael Penix. And if they can do that, then Indiana could have a long day. But Indiana's defense, which isn't bad, is going to have their hands full.
And it feels like that's another division decider. Wisconsin, Northwestern. How do you see that one playing out?
Yeah, that'll be a little lower scoring. Wisconsin. They've got Mertz playing quarterback. He played last week, so that's good because their offense obviously functions pretty well with him. Northwestern is a pretty physical defense, but Wisconsin, along with Ohio State, sort of defined the standard of physical in the Big Ten. It's hard to out-physical Wisconsin, and that's kind of what Northwestern tries to do, is out-physical your teams, their opponents. So it's, I like Wisconsin, but Northwestern's pretty good, and they can be frustrating, but Wisconsin's offense is better. But they should win a game that's probably going to get played in the mid-20s.
Jerry, Pac-12's back, kind of. I mean, there's been a lot of COVID-related stuff there. SC's going to beat the Arizona schools in two kind of crazy come-from-behind fashion. And they don't play Oregon. And I'm looking at what Oregon's done. They beat Stanford and Washington State. Are we looking at SC and Oregon basically coming down to it and potentially for a CFP spot?
Well, that's kind of what I'm expecting. But obviously, we're talking about two-thirds of that season, regular season, yet to go. And we don't even know if they're going to get all the games in. But it's, that's what I expected at the beginning of the season was Oregon and USC playing in a battle of undefeated teams. Oregon looking more likely to be able to finish that job. USC's playing with fire now to go to Utah, a place where they have not done well. So they're going to have to be ready to go from the opening snap this time.
I think that's absolutely right. And history tells
Utah,
you that.
By the way, another team that missed two.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Jerry Palm's with us for a few more minutes from CBSSports.com.
Jerry, what's going on in Michigan with Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines?
Well, he's obviously fallen out of favor with the fan base this year. It's always been, I shouldn't say always, but recently it's been, they've been a little frustrated because he hasn't done the thing that he was hired to do, beat Ohio State. But he's also not doing a good job with Michigan State. I mean, better. They've got some wins, but he's 1-6 at home against those two teams. I think he's won a couple at Michigan State, but that's fine when you're winning 9 or 10 games otherwise. But this year they can't beat anybody. They won at Minnesota to start the season, and they just looked awful ever since. And they've got problems, especially on defense. But their quarterback is a young guy, and he plays like a young guy, and that he makes some mistakes and he makes some nice plays, but it's not good enough to overcome what their defense is giving up, and it's a hot mess. There are 4 teams in that league, Rutgers, Michigan State, and Penn State, that have got a total of 3 wins, and 2 of those 3 wins have come in the group. Michigan's win at Minnesota is the only one that came outside of that group of 4. So eventually they're going to play each other and somebody's going to get wins, but none of those 4 teams are really distinguishing themselves right now.
Damn, it sounds like the NFC East.
Penn State up there too, right? With the giant question of what's going on.
Yeah, Penn State, Penn State being a bigger mess than Michigan. The Big Ten East is just upside down. I mean, other than Ohio State, but the teams chasing Ohio State are Indiana and Maryland, not Michigan and Michigan State and Penn State. It's just weird.
Will Muschamp getting fired, and Mike Bobo's now the interim head coach at South Carolina. I'm not going to lie, I was surprised that they made that move. We've had 2 coaching fires in season. Gary Anderson got fired at Utah State, and then Will Muschamp at South Carolina. With the COVID stuff going on, I thought there would be a little bit more leeway, but obviously not.
I would imagine that Gary Anderson's buyout is significantly less than Will Muschamp's.
I promise you that.
Yeah. South Carolina is coming up with about $17 million to pay off Will Muschamp to make him go away, and
it's insane.
That's why a lot of coaches' jobs have been safe the last year. Because we saw it in college basketball. You know, the turnover was way down in college basketball because nobody can afford to buy out these contracts. So I don't know where South Carolina came up with the money, but obviously they came up with the money. And by the way, Wichita State coming up.
I was going there.
$7 million to make Greg Marshall go away. That's surprising. But obviously they've been really bad, and I guess they felt like they were going to lose their team if they didn't do something. But as soon as he got let go, 3 of their defensive players have opted out. So, they might be losing them anyway.
All right, real quick, and Jerry Palm's with us from CBSSports.com. Of course, he covers college football and is their big basketball writer, covers bracketology and everything for them. Basketball season starts Wednesday. We saw yesterday the Jimmy V and the Champions Classic are gonna play. We got such uncertainty. I mean, this is like the unknown Wild Wild West. New Mexico State just relocated out of state. New Mexico's talking about not playing any conference games. You got games starting next week.
Wait, sorry, no conference games?
No non-conference game. Non-conference games. They're talking about that. It is going to be absolute inequity when we start looking at resumes and what college basketball seasons look like for different teams.
Absolutely. And the net rankings, like with college football statistical data, the net rankings may not be as helpful as they would normally be. College football's got no data to work with because you've got 4 conferences that aren't playing any non-conference games at all, and the Mountain West is playing 4 if they all end up getting played. So it's really hard when you've got no data to work with. That'll be less the case probably for college basketball, but still, the number of non-conference games are limited. The Ivy League has already opted out. I saw a couple of MEAC teams have opted out. So you're not even going to have the entire roster for college basketball. And unfortunately, non-conference play is going to take place at a time when COVID is running rampant again. So we're going to see, cancellations and postponements like we have in football and basketball too. And everybody's just going to have to adjust.
Well, when you say 2 weeks for basketball, that's typically more than 2 games, like it is in football.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So, that could end up being 3 or 4, depending on how your schedule sorts out.
All right. Appreciate you spending some time with us. Jerry Palm, read him every day over on CBSSports.com. JP Palm is at JP Palm on the Twitter. Enjoy the weekend.
Yes.
JP Palm CBS on the Twitter. JP Palm, that's 2 P's. And then Alm on the CBS. All right. Appreciate you. Always do. We'll catch up with you next week. Enjoy the weekend.
All right. Take care.
See you. Jerry Palm. JJ, the inequity in college, I mean, I didn't even think about the net rankings. Like how are you going to, when you sit down at the end of the year and start trying to put all this together and compare this team to this team, and it's going to be like a grape to a watermelon.
Yeah, there's going to be, I'm sure, an element of just how many games we were able to play. It always does lean power conference over mid-majors anyway, so I don't expect that to change. The few spots that we see some of these mid-major teams sneak into, probably lose them this year.
Yeah. All right. It's yours the rest of the way. So you can respond to what Eddie Nunez had to say. I still have more thoughts on that. What Jerry had to say, 505-246-0610 is how to get in. 888-922-0610. Your emails are coming in, Jeff or JJ at 610knml.com. What else is coming is harsh winter weather, and it is not good for your vehicle. It's coming quickly. I know it's going to be record highs today, but just wait. Give your paint job the protection it needs. Get a visit from On the Spot Auto Detailing, because what they do is come to you and apply by hand. Wax on, wax off. A wax to protect your clear coat from hard water stains, sun damage, all of the elements. And this wax that they apply is so much better than that spray-on stuff you get at those drive-through car washes that washes away with the first rain. And I said a visit from On the Spot Auto Detailing. They come to you wherever, whenever it is convenient for you. Home, office. For me, I was at the office. They were outside the parking lot, and they detailed my vehicle, inside and outside. And when they were done, it looked and felt and smelled like the day I took it off the lot. On the Spot Auto Detailing, 505-859-2859. That's 859-2859. Or visit them at otsdetailing.com.
If you need to hire, you need Indeed.
Call it as Javi's looking, and he's got a guy wide open, and it's Gay, and he's gonna walk into the end zone. But he did a good job with it. First and goal, it's Chavez to the middle, and Chavez stops.
And Stevens in motion. On the handoff to Mitchell. Look out! Oh, see you later. Take it to the house. Fly. Cardinals fly. To the other side. Provide some protection. And off to Webskowski again. Look out. See you later. Good night. Touchdown. Webskowski. Day. He's going to fire to the end zone. Open man, touchdown, Wildcats. Not a defender inside.
A little bit.
Webskowski on the sideline. Hasta mañana. He's off to the races. Touchdown, Clovis.
Albuquerque this afternoon.
34-24. Rancho late in the third. How about this run? Nice play. Dickerman. He's still on his feet. Touchdown, Wolverine.
Exactly what they want to get yards. He's going to go for it. He's got a guy towards the end zone. It's grabbed. Touchdown. What a play.
And long here for the Storm. Handoff to, we're going to fake the handoff, excuse me. Davidson on the deep ball. He's got some space, and it's caught. Still on his feet. Touchdown, Storm. Wow. Santa Maria.
And so they'll send one deep and returnable at the 2. Usually Volcano do either a reverse or a fake reverse, and here it is a reverse. And a move to the outside. There is a lane. Look out! Shot out of a cannon. Rodriguez is going to take it all the way.
Second field goal, he's got 4 points. Watson, though, goes all the way.
Hit the deck, I should say. Cordova tried to throw it off. Romero, a 3 for...
Set out to Jutapia. Nice move behind his back. It's a good... Here's Ramos, step back, high arcing, playing it!
Well, he needed to get his legs back under him.
Ooh, little kick.
They leave it one more time to Hammer.
Look at this, they're going to go score again. Look at this.
Up top! Yes! And the finish for Akbayosi. Saved into the hands of Riak, ahead of the pack to Davina Lovato. Up high, down hard for Akbayosi. Out of the corner, Casals, the 3-0, Katenge! Let me clean up the mess! He dropped out of the rafters for that one, Steve.
Well, you will get the Jimmy V Classic, and some of the high profile. This is where my concern is, JJ, about, we talk about irrelevant. Jeffrey likes to come in and tell me every year how things are insipid and irrelevant around here, and Lobo football is irrelevant, and at least Lobo basketball has a chance, and that's why he likes Lobo basketball and all these things, right? Well, here's my fear. I get the Jimmy V and all these I'm watching college basketball. Hell, I'm watching Utah State play Weber State or something. I don't care. And New Mexico State don't play. And I think New Mexico State's going to play. But I'm going to watch the Jimmy V, and I'm going to watch Gonzaga play Tennessee. And I'm going to watch Baylor play Illinois on ESPN. I'm going, oh, that's really cool. And then I'm going to watch the Kentucky-Kansas game and the Duke-Michigan State game and the champions. Oh, yeah, basketball. Okay, college basketball. And the Lobos they practice at a junior college in Lubbock or something. That's my fear. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. You think I'm way off on that?
You fear that people aren't going to care?
Well, out of sight, out of mind. Yeah. At some point, if you're not playing, everybody else is. What do I care? I'm caring that they're dribbling in West Texas.
Fans will care when they start playing.
When they start playing. Okay. Yeah.
And I think as frustrating as it is, you can't change it now. It's Lobo and Aggie fans aren't going to forget about their teams. Because they weren't going to be playing in any marquee games anyway.
Yeah, I think the Aggies.
I get where you're coming from, but I don't think that once they start playing games, people are going to be like, I don't like basketball anymore.
Okay, I think that's right. That's not what I was saying, but yes, I think that's right. I also think, and the frustration is going to magnify. I think the Aggies are going to play more. I don't want to tell you exponentially more. It feels like they're more dedicated to finding games in an area where they can play more. And I think they're going to play more non-conference games than the Lobos, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Edward, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Edward.
Gentlemen, we have a cacophony of topics this morning that I'll be brief on and succinct. But what a great country we live in. Crusher Jr. was showing me, that guy that sang the Fleetwood Mac song Dreams on his skateboard, and he got that marketing contract?
No.
And Snoop Dogg bought him a house, $320K, $320,000 house. Oh, I guess he had the funds to, based on the input of money that came in, and that's awesome. Growing up, guys, we had dreams. We'd be in the parking lot. We'd be in the sand lots. We'd be playing tackle football with no pads on, with the dreams of making a league. How'd you like to be Anthony Edwards and say, yeah, I guess I'll play NBA basketball. It's not really my passion, but I'm the #1 draft pick. Is that not phenomenal?
Yeah, they're going to pay me a bunch.
Rapper and a cartoon character, but I think that's amazing for him to be the #1 draft pick and say, yeah, I think I'd rather play football. And it's not really my passion, but let's see how this goes. That's incredible. That's a testament to his talent. How about Mr. Ball, who's never lost and can beat Michael Jordan in the one-on-one? To have one son get drafted by #2 overall by the Lakers under the tutelage of Magic Johnson, and then his third son to get drafted #3 overall and be under the tutelage of Michael Jeffrey Jordan. What's his grandson going to do? Play for LeBron in about 20 years and be under the tutelage of LeBron? That's incredible if you really think about it.
That is incredible.
That's William Sisters-esque right there. I mean, that's amazing. But I thought, I don't know what percentage of players are going to make the league that got drafted, but if you go early in the first round, you're getting about $9 to $10 million a year, and then it kind of decrements to about $1 million per year on those drafted at the back end of the first round. So
yeah, but that's guaranteed.
What a great opportunity. Hey, I know you're coming up on the break. Real quick, tonight's game, the world thinks Arizona's going to beat Seattle tonight. I'm going to go against it. Seattle's lost 3 of 4. Arizona's won 4 of 5. They got beat against Miami. They were extremely fortunate on a great play last week. I think Seattle goes in and covers that 3 tonight. That's the precipice of the 5-star picks this weekend.
All right.
But I appreciate you letting me take say a few thoughts, and I hope you guys have a delightful day.
All right, I know there's good stuff in there. And you got a game tonight, Seattle and the Cardinals right here on the Sports Animal. Back to it if you're there. We got two lines open, 505-246-0610. And you can get in there. The Ball family story, yeah, it's an intriguing one. That's going to be a hell of a 30 for 32 one day, JJ.
The rise and fall of Ball.
What if I told you, backyard ball or something they'll call it, or big baller brand. But what if I told you? And where's the dad been? My mom asked me yesterday, where's the dad? I'm like, I've heard nothing since big baller brand crashed. Have you?
Nope.
And by the way, then the balls are so much more palatable when Daddy's gone. It's the opening drive. Jeff, JJ, Micah, Josh, J-Pole over on the ProView Networks on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Animal.
Lovato driving. They're going to count it. Gallegos. Ooh, a little spin and a finish. Natalia Chavez, good spin. Takes it.
Ramos, nice jump stop to the.
Played with gambling a little bit. Oh, there's a.
Hill, little step, high window. And got the second.
To the middle.
Here we go, 3.9. It's Cooper's going to run with it. Cooper's going to swing it out to Lowry. Lowry, Portillo couldn't get it off, and Clovis goes in. It's waved off. He did not get it off in time. Portillo. Reverse layup. Gallegos spins. Window. Finishes.
There's a run coming from
Lazy pass. Here comes Crawford. It might be showtime. Shoot. They'll get one off, and it'll count high off the window.
Yep. Oh my gosh.
There's the long three.
Boom.
Bang. Martinez will beat the buzzer. Got it to go. His
Fork driving kick. Three's in the air. It's good. Pass on the nice block by Hernandez Crawford.
And Brown in the transition. But why not, Steve? Is Corbalan's going to go and he puts it away. And Corbalan wants to put it down. Here comes Las Brown. You can't leave him alone. Put it down.
Gershon in transition. 3-on-2. Gershon going to go all the way. Whoa, Morgan.
Moreno extra pass. And Watson. out with it. Gallegos, and he's going to run all the way. Window, yes! Able to get out of it. How did he find Battle? It's to Cunningham, and it...
I mean, Ramos' hand.
Ramos puts it up, beats the buzzer!
Boy, Jefferson wide open.
Jefferson to Daraji! Into Watson with the jam!
Another steal by Davino Lovato, and here comes Agbaiosi. Lob, two-hand hammer. You knew that was coming.
And you got the Arizona Aggies, and where are they going to play, when they're going to play, who they're going to play, are they going to play? The draft was last night in the NBA. 4 Mountain West players were drafted. And we got phones ringing to talk to you. Opening drive, Jeff Siembieda, J.J. Buck, Micah, J-Pole, and Josh. Come on in at 505-246-0610, 888-922-0610. I've learned a lot of things this morning, JJ, and I put on an event and I think about a lot of details. I'm just trying to think what I learned, and I guess can you find a gym that's got lamps that are bright enough that I could televise a basketball game?
Yeah, and I do want to go back to your point on Lobo basketball and Aggie basketball not playing, because it shocks me, but it's one that you can't ignore. Like, I think, like, I know where you're coming from. Like, if they're not playing and everyone else is, other than potentially losing things on your resume, you know, what is the impact? You know, is there a sense that fans will tune out at a certain point? Will they not buy into the teams when it gets to conference play? So I don't think it's a crazy thought. It shocked me, because I'm one that my mindset, kind of regardless of what's going on, this state is all in about basketball. No matter what.
Are they going to care? Are they going to care?
Basketball.
Yeah,
they're all
my
in.
thought is,
but you're right. Like, if you're not playing until a certain point, what effect does it have?
Well, I've been told the reason that basketball is so much more popular than football, and in all honesty, basketball hasn't had any more success, really. I mean, they've won some conference championships, but they've never been to the Sweet 16. Like, what nationally, what have they ever done? And I'm not ripping on you. We've been through this. So, but I've been told the reason basketball is so much more popular is because, well, they've got a chance. They've got a chance to compete for a national championship. Do they? In this season, and I know it's an odd season, so I was just me thinking, and if I'm wrong, I'll be wrong. I'm okay.
Well, I don't think you're wrong about that. I think the harsh reality is the Lobo situation is no different than New Mexico State. You want to get to the NCAA tournament and win your conference tournament.
Yeah,
like,
but
even if they played a non-conference schedule, like, they were going to have to do something ridiculous, like only have 3 or 4 losses the entire year, because they weren't playing anybody.
So that's fair. I think you would absolutely acknowledge New Mexico State's got a hell of a lot better chance of winning their conference tournament than New Mexico does.
Yes.
This year and every year. All right, let's go to the phones. 505-246-0610. Gene, the dancing machine. What's up, Gene? How you living?
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, I don't know if you guys listened to it last night, but Chris Jans was talking to the media, local media, and the question about the UNM UTEP games came up, and he slipped up a little bit because he focused on the UNM game, and he basically said that the UNM game is his priority right now, that's in terms of scheduling, that's the one game that they're trying to get on the schedule. So he also went on to say that he sees this thing as a fluid situation, and no one is going to have a set schedule on November 25th when the season starts. He says that these games are going to be scheduled, in January, February, even later in early March, right before the tournaments, because teams are going to want to increase their RPI and so forth, and they're going to find games that are going to do that to help each other out. but it kind of countered what I heard from Eddie this morning, because to me it didn't sound like Eddie really wants this game with the Aggies. He said something like, "Well, we've only practiced 3 times." Well,
so have they.
The Aggies are in the same boat. They were under the same restrictions, and to me, it just sounds like the Lobos may be shying away from this. Maybe they'll pick the game up, in 2021. But it sounds like he doesn't want to play the Aggies right now. I wanted to hear your take on that.
Yeah, Gene, and Chris Jans was on with us yesterday and said, JJ, pretty much the same things. I mean, it was a priority to play all 4 of his rivalry games, both UTEP and New Mexico twice, if they can. And that's why I asked Eddie straight up, Gene, you're looking for a game. New Mexico State's looking for games. It feels right, and he went into that. I don't know if it's Eddie. I don't know if it's his coach. I don't know if it's logistics. Yeah, I kind of heard that too. Now, I don't know that they're shying away from that particular game, Gene. I don't think that's right. It feels like they want to play when they're ready. But your point's not wrong. New Mexico State's in the same boat. They've only practiced a handful of times too.
Yeah,
Gene, appreciate the call.
The other thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
No, okay.
I was just going to say, also the places are going to, Phoenix and Lubbock. Growing up in this rivalry, you would have thought that the situation would have been flipped. Somehow in New Mexico State, and I'll full disclosure, I'm an Aggie.
Obviously,
we beat the Lobos on this one because they're normally the ones in the 5-star resort, and we're out in Motel 6. But it just feels it feels like the Lobos kind of slipped up on this one, and the Aggies beat them to the punch, and were able to set up these accommodations with a court in the resort set up for them. They have 24-hour access to this place, and they're in Phoenix metro area where they're going to be able to find gyms.
Well, they've got a good spot, Gene.
Address those issues that Eddie was talking about when it comes to TV and so forth. So just wanted to give props to Mario for getting that done. That's an awesome job.
Yeah, Gene, thanks for the call. JJ, New Mexico State had a pre-existing relationship with the people over there, and they did. They've got a nice situation. Point of clarification, New Mexico State has had more practices than New Mexico. They didn't have the shutdown for the COVID, so New Mexico State has. Now, whether that's 3 or 6 or 12, I don't know how many more. But this is one where kind of, it feels like, well, you're both looking for games. This game means so much to both of your fan bases. My gut tells me they're still going to find a way to do this at least one time at a neutral site.
Yeah, I don't think it's shying away from it. I just think it's honestly asking the question of where is this game going to be hosted?
And how?
New Mexico State has a practice court. They don't have an arena to play games at. And I think it's more questions of where and when as opposed to not wanting to play it. I don't think New Mexico's scared of this game. I don't think the coaches are like, oh, I don't want to play New Mexico State. I think there's just logistic questions of when do you schedule it, and would it make sense to do something maybe a little bit later in December where both teams can get some practices, can get comfortable, and then maybe find a site where you have a Thursday, Saturday, Friday, Saturday game where, all right, let's go play, Lobo Aggies twice and then head back.
Yeah, I think they both want to play. So to Gene's point, and JJ, you're right. I don't think the Lobos are shying away from anything. I think Eddie's taking a much more practical look at it, saying how are we going to do this, where are we going to do this, when are we going to be ready to do this. Where Jans yesterday, and this is probably, JJ, the difference between a coach and an athletic director, right? Where a coach is saying, yeah, I want to play. I want to play him. I'm ready to go. Let's go play him. And the athletic director is probably a little more cautious. And then, like we've had the emails this morning. Well, but they're both looking for games. Where's the issue? Put them on a gym floor somewhere and let's go. My gut tells me that you're going to see at least one New Mexico State, New Mexico basketball game somewhere. Arizona, Phoenix, Vegas. I'm going to bet it's not New Mexico. Is that a fair bet?
I think that's fair. And also how the Lobos finalized things this week to send off their basketball teams. So when they don't even have them on the practice court yet, I get why you don't have that date set to play New Mexico State.
How many practices do you need? I mean, I get it. You want a whole month of camp. You're not getting it this year. So, I mean, does that mean you can't play for a month? You know, Jan said he's ready to play next week. Now he's playing Arizona Christian. He's not playing New Mexico. But I don't know the answer. How many do you need? You got a really new team. You got a new coaching staff. How many have you had? How many do you need? I don't know.
Give them a week. But okay, let's just say it's not about practice. Where are they playing this game? Who's staffing it? And is it viewable? Like,
oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. You know, Gene, your point. Where are you getting to watch this game? Is who's picking it up? Where are you playing it? Are the lamps bright enough for the television cameras? That's my new Bermuda grass Hal Mummy thing, by the way. Well, the gym's a little bit, you know, it's just not quite, you know, the candles in the light are just a couple of ohms off, and we weren't able to put the game on television. I think there's a lot there, man. But I think you'll see it. All right, I'll get some more of your emails, your comments, because you've got a lot of good comments on the conversation. 505-246-0610 is how to get into us, or Jeff or JJ at 610knml.com. If you want to get in on the draft last night, Anthony Edwards at the top. LaMelo Ball goes third. 4 Mountain West Conference players selected in the NBA draft. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
While other stations are doing this.
And we're about 3 hours away.
About the lob, tag by Osi, the one-hand hammer.
Put up. And a drive from Palm.
Opportunity here. Martinez shoots, he scores.
Cut into it. Had some nice looks at the rim. Win. Inside. They're not going to miss this one. Two-hand hammer from Murillo.
Ball's played up. Rodriguez with it. Gonna settle. Looks to the inside. Comes to the far side push. Shot on in. Goal. Deflected in. No.
Dorian's gonna go all the way. It was blocked by the rim. Get it out, says Kobe Wade. Ramos. Get it. Look out. Ramos, can he chase it down? It was a freebie. Saved it. And then stolen. And somehow Hasbury's got it back. Handoff. Watson.
Get it stripped. Calion stripped him. Come Highland the other way. Win up top to the big goal. Here he comes.
For the lead. Got it.
What a great game plan. Look at this.
Agbayosi throws it down.
Melfi can cash it in. He's got some protection. Deep ball. Erickson's open. Touchdown, Monarchs.
Second and 10. Smith looking, and he's going to fire over the middle, and he's got his guy, and it's another big play. Walking away for a touchdown, Tristan Altier.
off to Chavez. Chavez breaking tackles. Look out. Chavez up the sideline. Stays in bounds. Touchdown. Volcanovic.
That replay. I got you. Measurement. I mean, Smith's got a fire on first down, and he's on the outside. There's a lot of room for Brad Thomas. A move, and he's set free. It's into the end zone. Touchdown. So it goes.
He'll run with it. Stumbling. Gets down into the end zone. And looking to throw it. And he throws it in the end zone. Caught!
First and 10 from the 11. And spin move for Smith. Push the B button. Dance into the end zone.
He'll throw it. Looking. Here comes the rush. Stepping up. Pavia now running around. Being chased. Looks across. Throws it up and wide open. Ball is caught. Touchdown. Jimmy got it. Dropping, looking, stepping up. He's going to run. He's got a lot of green in front of him. To the end zone. Touchdown. Rio Rancho, Isaiah Chavez. Chavez set. He's going to run with it again and dives and...
It's Austin Smith, and to the outside, a lot of room. Look out. A foot race down the sideline. All the way on the first play from scrimmage, Chris. That's a touchdown.
Scrambling. And off. Great hit. He bounces off. Outside. Got some daylight at the 20, the 10, the 5. What an incredible run. Ramos, rise and fire. He's fouled.
You know, he used to coach for Del Norte. And
here's Voss all the way with the finish. He'll get the... Behind the back of the dribble. Trying to go up with the right hand. He changed hands in midair. And Hotman sent it away. Wynn doing a really good job denying Chavez. DC hasn't got the ball. Oh, Yeku! Oh! Working against Watson. Oh, look at the spin move. Ball's loose. DJ Bustos brings it up. Bars Tompkins, alley-oop. How about it? That was redunculous. Turnover. Cable to the big fella might try to jam one.
Former Lobo football coach Mike Loxley is tested positive for COVID-19. The Maryland-Michigan State game has been canceled this weekend. Be declared a no contest. Quote from Mike Loxley this morning, the now head coach at Maryland. I am grateful for our team and for our fans. This team, I'm gutted, it says. I'm gutted for our team and our fans. This team is eager to play and compete and continue the growth we've seen this season. This virus is testing our players and coaches right now, but I have no doubt that we will emerge as a stronger unit for having gone through this together. As for me personally, I am feeling strong. With only minor symptoms, I will continue to lead this program virtually, and our game preparations for Indiana will begin immediately, end quote. Maryland also canceled last week's game, if you recall, against Ohio State. There was a rise in COVID-19 cases then. They paused all of their team activities back on the 11th of November. They had 8 players at the time tested positive, and they had hoped to resume practice and play this week. So there's 4 Big Ten games canceled this week. Wisconsin returned to the field last week against Michigan. They had canceled games before. Certainly best wishes to Mike. Whatever you think of Mike as a coach and whatever happened here, JJ, you and I think, we've always liked Mike. He's been good to us, and so we wish him and his family the best as they've been through some trying times over the last few years, and I'll send him a note today, but best thoughts to Mike Locksley.
Absolutely. Never want to wish ill on anyone, especially in this situation. I get it when it comes to football, the bridges that were burnt for Locksley and Lobo football fans. But yeah, you want to see everyone get healthy, recover. It's still, even with the cases that we see in sport, and then they're back. You never know, man. It's still a dangerous and scary situation. Good that you get to reach out to him because he has everyone else blocked. Does Locksley.
Is that right? You can't, what do you mean? Like on the Twitter? You can't get through?
On the Twitter, pretty much every New Mexico media personality or anyone associated with Lobo football, Locksley has blocked on his Twitter.
Is that right? I just kind of send him a text, and sometimes he'll respond with one word and sometimes not. And but that's all right. Whether he wants to listen to me or not, I'll send him good thoughts. But certainly sending him the best. All right, 505-246-0610 is how to get in, 888-922-0610. Emails, I've got Jeff at 610knml.com, JJ at 610knml.com. Jeffrey, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good day, sir.
Good day. Beautiful day here in the neighborhood.
Beautiful day.
Those folks that have heard me make contributions to the show know that I'm a UNM graduate, and I've been a Lobo fan, quote unquote, for literally 50 years. Started going to games when I was about 10 with my grandfather. I've made a contribution to the basketball program and the athletic department to the tune of almost $40,000 over that period. So I know a little bit about Lobo basketball from at least that perspective, but to operate on this assumption, not that you're making it, but there is this assumption that Lobo's men's basketball continues to be at the height of popularity, I think it's both untenable and just simply not true. And whether we like it or not, since Elford's departure, other than that 1 year with the coach that inherited a great team, the entire basketball program has taken a leap backward. And I point to several things: the lack of winning and competing for championships in that time, the emergence of Boise State, Nevada, and clearly San Diego State as the dominant program, the uncomfortable for us Lobo fans emergence of New Mexico State as being the dominant program in the state of New Mexico. 3, the erosion of attendance over the last 10 years. 4, the restructuring of what was once one of the top 10 venues to play basketball to a different configuration of seating, which is clearly taken away from some of the charm, some of the passion that is, and still known as the Pit. And really probably the most important thing is the aging population. I've talked about this, that has made both the physical effort to attend games and also, and this doesn't get talked enough about, that population is the core financial thrust to the program. And you now have that population. I'm now approaching early, my late 50s, and, we're getting older. And the folks that are older than me are physically unable to go to games. And those people and me are the core populations that make the big contributions to the program. And you factor all those things in, and to assume that the program is still at the height of popularity, I think it's an untenable and dangerous concept.
I never said that they're at the height.
You're saying that, but it still seems to be a theme. And I want to make one last point. Eddie Nunez, as far as athletic director, has been, and I'm just saying it out loud, I have not been impressed by the guy. I know he came in and he inherited a number of problems, and now you throw in this COVID chaos. But, you know, what bothers me the most, I've got no communication through this whole COVID situation as a Lobo fan and someone who's made a contribution for 40 years. One letter, not one phone call. Again, even if I just had, as a fan, some communication. Here's what's going on. It's untenable. It's uncertainty. There's COVID, but we appreciate and value as a fan. I would get that, but to have no communication at all? Oprah Winfrey once said, the worst thing you can do to a person is, believe it or not violence, not hate, but to ignore them. And I think our fan base has been ignored. And that's the thing that's most disturbing to me. But the program is in a lot of trouble unless, you know, these things get corrected. And again, you add this layer of COVID, and I'm not suggesting it's going to happen this year. But long term, these factors should be thought out well as a strategic marketing plan to reinsert some stability on all these fronts to fans like me and to build a new generation of fandom.
All right, Jeffrey, I appreciate you. So there's a lot of really good observations in there. I'm going to start with one where, JJ, I'm going to take the absolute other side on this and completely disagree with him on Eddie. I think Eddie has been a terrific leader in regards to the COVID, in regards to the budget stuff that he's had to do. I mean, Eddie's been punching since the day he got here. Certainly from my perspective, from our perspective, he's been the most accessible and forthcoming athletic director in my 25 years here. But I do see communication that goes out, Lobo Club, that goes out. Like, I do see that. Now, if Jeffrey didn't get something personally, I can't attest to that. But I would tell you that in this time, and I've talked to coaches and people within that department who certainly feel the same way. Now, there's some who feel, there's always people on both sides. But from where I sit, I think Eddie has led this department in a way that's as good as somebody could have done, dealing with what he's dealt with since the day he walked in that door.
It's not good to assume in any situation. So Jeffrey is right about that point. Just assuming things are going to be good if you start winning, because a big thing in sport is how do you find consistency? How do you manage when things aren't going your way? Because you're not going to be winning every single year. So I think that is a good point, because sometimes I get caught up in that, just assuming the Lobo basketball is going to be okay. Now, I do think, when a team is winning at a high level, you will see a surge and uptick. So there's only so much you can control in terms of messaging and sending out letters, because it still comes down to the product and what they're putting out there on the court. And yeah, the pit has lost some of its magic, and it never will be what it once was for a lot of people. But even so, they're still in a position that is so much better than the majority of their conference when it comes to attendance, etc. So how do you sustain that? And that's the huge question, because he's right. Go to a women's basketball game, man. And you wonder, how does that fan base sustain? That's an even older crowd than the Lobo team.
And I'm not operating under any assumption that this is at the height of popularity. I've been here for the height of popularity. But with all due respect on Jeffrey's call, I've seen Eddie to be incredibly open. I've seen him reach out to, now if Jeffrey hasn't gotten the call that he needs, I can't attest to Jeffrey, but I can't be more polar opposite on his assessment of Eddie. I think Eddie has done, as far as reaching out, been accessible, dealing with an unprecedented pile of problems that people have never, like budget cuts and the mess that was left, and the debt, and cutting sports, and now COVID. I think this university, and JJ, I've been here 25 years. I think UNM and UNM athletics in this state is very, very fortunate to have Eddie Nunez as the leader as they've gone through this, because I think he has been beyond terrific. Like I think he's done an incredible job in dealing with everything he's gone through. And again, if Jeffrey didn't get a phone call personally, I can't attest to that, but I know a little bit about the workings of intercollegiate athletics, and I've watched this man go and know what he's dealt with, and I think he's done an insane job.
Ray, Sean, and Rudy.
All right, I got one line open. 1-246-0610. We'll get through your thoughts when we get back. Does your credit card pay you? If you've got the Independence credit card from Kirtland Federal Credit Union, you're getting 1.5% unlimited cash back with every single purchase. That's a tank of gas, holiday gifts, morning coffee, 1.5%, and there are no limits. All of us pay for stuff. If you're not earning some of it back, you don't have the Independence credit card. Awesome rates, easy and fast approval. Get started today. KirtlandFCU.org/credit card. That's KirtlandFCU.org/credit card. Apply today. Kirtland Federal Credit Union. They are more than military. They are for life. Kirtland Federal Credit Union is an equal housing lender, federally insured by the NCUA.
Get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what he'll
just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's going to fire at the buzzer, and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much. Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this. Stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Could have said that anything better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we can see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Hill, the senior top.
No! Oh! Ho, ho, ho!
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
They'll be coming in soon. Double pick set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores it as foul.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen, against White, step back, it's blocked! JB with the block!
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go, they've got a shot, they have a chance, and it's put up, and it's good! What a three that is by Jalen.
Hidon puts it up.
Rebound, Cowboys. Right side, David Hall. Thank you very much. Here come the Cowboys. Domina Lovato lays it up. Missed it. Hey, how about it? Thank you, Lusses. Thank you very much, Raquan Mitchell. Clock at 6. They get it. Barnes Tompkins fires. Yes! Pass up court. This for the win. Blocked by DJ Bustos. Cowboys win. Cowboys win.
Let's play it over to Madrid. Please.
I think UNM and UNM fans are very, very fortunate to have Eddie Nunes as their athletic director, especially in this time. It's tumultuous, and I think Eddie has been cool. He has been focused. He has been detailed. He has had plans, and I do believe he's been communicative. And if there's a booster who feels they didn't get a phone call, I can't attest to that. But I can't be more adamant in positive in the job I think this athletic director has done. But that, again, that's my opinion. Let's go to it. I got one line open. 505-246-0610. Ray, good morning. You're on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hi, Ray.
How you guys doing?
Good.
I disagree with that caller, Jeff. We go to the tailgates for the Lobo football and stuff. He comes around and he comes to you, shakes your hand, asks you how you're doing, real personal, and he's doing it right. But now he got hired a good football coach. I think he's doing everything right, and he's got, like you say, he got into this with a lot of troubles. And as far as Jeff is, we got too many people here in Albuquerque and New Mexico saying just because they donated money to the program, they should know who they're going to recruit and when they're going to recruit. You gave money willingly. And like you say, he's been in the program for over 40 years. He gave over $40,000. I personally, myself, I think that was a little bit of bragging, but that only comes out to $1,000 a year. Good that he gave the money, but he gave it willingly. His arm wasn't twisted to give it to the program, and he doesn't need to know everything that goes on in the program. We got a lot of people here in Albuquerque that are like that, and it just bugs me. Keep it to yourself. You're not going to get a personal call from the president saying this and saying we're doing this, we're doing that. It don't happen at any program, but it's not going to happen here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate you, Ray. Sean, you're up next on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Hello, Sean.
Good morning, gentlemen. How's it going?
It's good. I just picked the Jets to beat the Chargers in our official picks. How you living?
Man, Herbert looks like a 14-year-old with that haircut. So I'm pretty sure our defense can manage against the child, but we just released Pierre Desir, our leading interception specialist in defense. So we'll see what happens with that defense. I have faith in Bryce Hall, but we'll see what happens. If we beat the Chargers, do I get my own segment?
No, but you can have 3 minutes.
I appreciate you guys. You have a good one. I'll speak to you next week.
See you. Can I have my own segment? Yeah, you could be the guy putting that tattoo on Josh's little toe. That'd be a pretty good segment. Rudy, you're up next. Good morning, Rudy.
I don't know how to follow something like that, guys. I've worked with Eddie since the day he got here. I've known every athletic director since I got back from law school, and I knew the ones before when I went to UNM. And Eddie is a really great athletic director, and I don't know what the experience was with that gentleman, but I'm sure he can rectify it, and I'm sure Eddie would reach out to him.
He's already asked to, actually. Yeah.
I don't know the circumstances, but, all the money I've given and all the support I've given for the Lobos, I've enjoyed every minute, and I've felt like I've gotten more than my money's worth. And those coaches were always there for anybody who wants to reach out to them. So are the administrators. And I can't imagine what Eddie's going through, but I know this. He's earned every penny of whatever they're paying him.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Now,
look, let me just give you something real quick. I want you to finish.
Sure.
Times like this, times of tumult, need leadership. Eddie's a first-time athletic director, never done this before. And I believe Eddie's got really good mentorship behind him. He's worked with and for some very, very solid professionals. And so I think the background is solid. Maybe he's got places to bounce stuff off, but nobody's gone through this. Now everybody's going through COVID, but Eddie's going through it. Eddie and really Mario are going through it at a different level, right? They're the only two athletic directors at the Division I level for basketball and Eddie for football who are going through it now, not only dealing with the COVID and the testing and the no revenue and everything else, having to relocate their programs. And it goes down to leadership. And it's amazing. When you talk to the people within the program, they're pretty impressed by the leadership. I know a lot of what's going on over there. I don't know what more you could have asked, to be honest with you. I'm just going to tell you, I've been impressed by this young man since he's got here, and I think he's been a terrific leader for that program. And go ahead and finish, Rudy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. My other thought was, last night after whatever game it was on CBS, did you see the special on the Army-Navy game of 1944?
I did not.
If you want to see wars are wars, and wars are fought in different ways. And is this a war? Well, the pandemic is kind of a war on humanity, a war on our values, a war on a lot of things. But this goes to the history, and 1944 was a tough year. I mean, it was 11 years before I was born, but my dad was in the middle of World War II, and it's how they played the Army-Navy game and what happened. And there were people saying it's un-American to play the game and those boys should be over fighting. But when you watch the special, and if you can Google it, it was on CBS Sports, college sports channel last night. And I was just blown away by it. I really was. It gave me a whole new perspective on not only what we're fighting and how to fight it, but some of the sacrifices that went before us. And this isn't the first time people have been through a lot of trauma and a lot of pain and a lot of agony and a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. No, it's good stuff.
Yeah, sports is there to unite and to show people that you can go out and compete and we can live our lives. And everybody needs to just get hip and live your own life and try to be as healthy as you can be. Know your exposures and, try to move forward in an orderly fashion because we can't be locked down forever. This is going to end eventually. And if we have a third wave, then why did we lock down? And I just think everybody needs to be responsible for themselves. And when you watch this thing, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
All right. Appreciate you, Rudy. JJ, I don't know what I've learned in the last two segments. I guess a reinforcement that there's always two sides, and some people love a coach, some people don't love a coach, some people like an AD, some people don't. I don't know. I don't know. What'd you learn? Anything?
What did we learn on the opening drive today? The opinions always differ. One thing can land a certain way for someone else and hit completely different for a person that's seeing and hearing the same thing but reacting differently.
Yeah, and I guess maybe, I've fought some of the same fights that Eddie's fought, certainly not to the extent he has, and so I've got a little bit of perspective what he's gone through. I know a little bit about the inner workings of it, and this isn't to say, I know more than that. Please don't take it that way. That's not what I'm saying. But I've watched this young man work and have to prove himself into a community which is a very tight-knit community and always leery of people who come from somewhere else. I've listened to, he's using this as a stepping stone. He's had opportunities to leave. He has. And he wants to stick this out and make sure he turns this around. And that man's dedication of what he's done, the time away from his family, the time, the decisions he's had to make. The key, JJ, the key is always, what do the people who work for you say about you, right? How do they feel? And I know so many people over there, and I know you do too. And it's not ever unanimous, but certainly overwhelming what he's done to turn the morale over at that program around. And I just think everything about it. So, you've seen a lot of it too. So, all right. Go. Feel free. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, I'm just saying I haven't viewed anything this year, especially over the last couple months. We knew the challenges that were ahead, the uncertainties that were coming, and felt, this was a bad decision by Lobo Athletics. So what are they doing? They shouldn't have did this. So I think it started more, at a national level with college athletics, everyone trying to fight for themselves. And when you're in that boat, it makes it that much more challenging. And then to be in a position where you are the only state and we're looking at both athletic directors that are having to send teams out. I think both have dealt with the challenges as best they can this year.
I'd ask you, who's got a tougher job in Division I athletics as an athletic director? What's a tougher job? And you're going to tell me New Mexico State, and you might be right. But would you could absolutely make an argument these are the two toughest AD jobs in America because of this year, right now, because of what's going on in this state. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal and ProView Networks.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need, from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rawlins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
I'll just get a little closer.
Oh, instead it's a gorgeous pass.
Here's what
Hill's gonna just shoot it.
He's going to go all the way.
He's gonna fire at the buzzer and he hits.
Great pass, Hadbury, and thank you very much. Tie in the district. Inside, fly, Eagles.
Chavez uses some athleticism. And then Morris down low, able to finish. You called it, Steve, in 10 seconds. And look at this. Stripped, stolen Watson. Christian Lucero beats the buzzer. Here's Ian Chavez, the sharpshooter. Got it.
Said that any better. He answered the question. He
On
got
a
another
steal
one.
at the buzzer. Back to back for Chavez.
To the paint. Medina from the volleyball lines. Medina wants another one from deep. Oh, he wants 10. Give him 10.
Lewis finds Watson. He's going to finish. One-handed slam. Vista, but just all the different scenarios we could see potentially play out ahead of the state tournament.
Creates space. He gives it off to Rivas for the three, and he buries it.
set for Avalos. Goes to the right. Avalos puts it up high. Window. Scores and is fouled.
Right here by Lewis all the way, coast to coast, and finish.
What a...
Around the screen, against White, step back, it's blocked! JB with the block!
In transition, ahead to hit on for the two-hand hammer.
Minutes to go. They've got a shot. They have a chance.
Trevelin Queen will get his shot. The former New Mexico State Aggie was hoping to hear his name in the NBA draft last night, JJ. He did not. But Trev Queen has signed as an undrafted free agent with the Houston Rockets and will get a chance to play in the NBA. Huh?
Absolutely. We know so many ballers did not hear their name called. It's just 60 spots. So there's guys that are going to be playing in a league that didn't get drafted. You know, the poster child of that is Fred VanVleet these days of what he became with the Toronto Raptors. And that's an opportunity, man. Who knows what that Houston Rockets roster is going to look like? It could be a total upheaval, but then that opens up opportunities because you still got to put a team on the court.
Yep, no, he's got an opportunity. Brant said, boy, you know what, Jeffers, West Texas seems like an awkward place to end up unless you already have a plan to pick up games in the Dallas area. P.S. Lobo Football postgame show is sponsored by the Downs. And J.J. reads, we hope to reopen soon. I've been hearing that for 8 months. When are they actually going to open? I don't know, man. It's my answer for everything. I don't know. The hell do I know? Fred, good morning. You are on the Quan's Auto Care Hotline. Good day, Fred.
Hey, guys. Hey, I just wanted to put a plug in for a couple of different things. One thing that Jeff said he hadn't really got a call or anything, but every year I get at least 1 or 2 calls from the student athletes. It's really impressive. I just love to hear them. You know, they're just thanking you for being a Lobo Club member or buying tickets, participating, being a Lobo fan. And I'm so impressed because it's the golfers, the tennis players, the baseball players, but they call every year for I don't know how many years. And then Ed Nunes, gosh darn, I don't think I've ever met a guy, an athletic director. You know, I've been here my whole life, and I don't think there's ever been one guy that meets you at the doors, at the football games, just he sees you out in the mall, just whatever. He's just so accessible. I've never seen a guy ever be that way, and that's just wanted to say that.
You know, Fred, I appreciate the perspective. It's good perspective. Look, I love Rudy Davalos. And Rudy did a great job here, but Rudy wasn't as personable necessarily with everybody as Eddie is, as accommodating. Certainly, I mean, Rudy did a great job. Rudy was a great athletic director. You know, Paul did some good things here too. I don't know what more you would want from Eddie. Lobo Hobo says not going to happen. If Nunez is still hoping for games at Dream Style in January and February, what fantasy world is he living in? I've heard nothing, and I mean nothing, from the governor and Dr. Scrace, where that's even on their radar. I agree with that, JJ. The numbers are climbing. I see, short of somehow distributing a vaccine in January, which is not going to happen, how somehow the governor's going back and allowing any athletic events. I mean, I feel for the high school kids because I don't know how they're going to play. I mean, we're talking about a high school season, cross country, golf, basketball, pick your game. Baseball. Is there going to be Lobo baseball? Is there going to be Mountain West baseball? Is there going to be Isotopes baseball? Like all this is on the line, but I just don't see how they're getting in the pit in January.
Yeah, right now it doesn't seem like that's a attainable goal. So that's why you're hearing kind of week to week. It's let's get our team somewhere to begin practice, at least have an opportunity if it presents itself to play games, and then assess where they're going to need to be for conference play.
Yeah, I think, and that's what they're doing. And they'll, Eddie mentioned today something in Vegas. I could see that happening, and maybe it's they live out at the same place that Lobo football's living, and find a place to practice out there and play games. Look, I think Cox Pavilion at UNLV, right, where they play some women's games, right next to the Thomas and Mack Center, might be an option. I don't know, man. I'm not putting this together. I'm glad I'm not. But I know they'll figure it out. All right, good stuff today. Thank you to Eddie Nunez, the athletic director at the University of New Mexico, and Jerry Palm from CBSSports.com. Jim Rome Show is next. The Dan Patrick Show is after that. Sports Bar with Trulio and Carlisle comes your way this afternoon at 3. And then no Lobo talk, Micah, right? That was yesterday. Cardinals and Seahawks tonight at 6 o'clock, correct? All right. Josh, J-Pole, I'm not sure what that is, but all right to you too. Guns up,
Lobo
like
talk.
what? Yeah, Lobo talk. All right, great job on the ProView side. JJ, enjoy the day.
Have a day, y'all.
We'll be back tomorrow morning with more award-winning radio for you at 7 a.m. Be good to each other, please. Be kind, loving, caring, and sharing. See you tomorrow.
Dorian over. Did he get in?
Yeah, they got in. He got in.
Touchdown, Dorian Lewis.
Seconds to play. Benavides looking, still looking up the middle. It's intercepted. It's picked off by Freddie Anaya, and Roswell's season will end perfect.
Second quarter, 2nd and 4 for Socorro at the whole 44-yard line. McDaniel trying, good block by Hicks. First down and more, 30, 25, 20. McDaniel might be gone. Touchdown.
Wow.
Touchdown for Michael McDaniel.
It's 40 seconds this year. It's not like 25 like it used to be.
He laterals it back. What a play by Hightower. Pitch.
Looked like somebody moved a little bit early. Hicks, the play fake double move. He's got his receiver wide open. Caught. One man to beat. Touchdown. Touchdown to number 17, Nathaniel.
Third and 6. Big defensive play coming up here. Little trickery to Reese. See you later. Touchdown. They went for the deep ball to Reese.
To the right, single receiver split to the left. Play fake, head up the middle's got some room. 50, 45, 40, has one man to beat. 30, 25, 10, 5, touchdown. Touchdown, Hope.
Wow.
On a
Option again, he'll keep it. Now he'll pitch it. Comes out to the 30, 25, 20, up the sideline. Still inbounds into the end zone. Let's see.
Touchdown.
Touchdown, Portel.
The outside, I'm running an out route. Davison in the play action, looking. He's going to go back to Lewis, and Lewis makes a cut, and Lewis still on his feet. Dorian Lewis is in for a touchdown. So Davison back to toss, and he's got all day. Makes one miss, and he's rolling, he's rolling, he's rolling. He's got
got a guy. Can he get it there? Davison to Luke Weissong.
We told you he can spin that.
Touchdown.